Sister-in-law, I'm sorry for causing you so much trouble. After the others had left, Gu Changsun apologized to Su Qingli. He had never expected Erguzi and his family to be so shameless, even trying to shift the blame onto them. They had not only tried to steal the rabbit he had caught, but also attempted to extort money from them. All because of him, his sister-in-law had given away 12 sticky bean buns, 5 fried cakes, and 5 salted duck eggs. Su Qingli ruffled his hair. Changsun, there's no need to apologize to me. This was never your fault. It is Erguzi and his family who are to blame. They coveted the rabbit you caught and wanted what our family has, so they tried to blackmail us. Gu Changsun said, I won't play with him anymore. All right, go back to sleep. Did Su Qingli feel bad about giving away all that food for nothing? Of course she did, but it was not a huge loss. After all, she had given the food to the village party secretary. While the village party secretary was not a high-ranking official, he was still in charge of the whole village. As a local villager, giving him a little something would surely make handling various affairs much easier in the future. Meanwhile, back at the Zhang family's house, the more they thought about what had happened, the angrier they grew. They had failed to get any money and had even given away 5 eggs for nothing. That secretary had taken their 5 eggs yet refused to speak up for them. Wu Chuanxia ground her teeth. This cannot be the end of this matter. Zhang Cheng grew irritable. Then what do you want to do? They threatened to go to the hospital for a head check. What if they really find something wrong? Can we afford to pay for that? Xian Xiufan turned to her eldest grandson. Bauer, tell grandma the truth. Did you hit him on the head? Erguzi tried to recall. I think I did. I punched him and knocked him straight to the ground. Everything had been so chaotic back then that he could not remember clearly. Enough. Let this matter drop. If you people have no sense of shame, I still have mine, old man Zhang Shuzhen cut in. Hearing this, Wu Chuanxia rolled her eyes inwardly. What a show of righteousness. Back when they had gone to the Gu family, her father-in-law had not tried to stop them at all. He had even followed the rest of the crowd. He was merely embarrassed because they had gotten no money and been lectured by Secretary Li. Even if the others wanted to let it go, Wu Chuanxia had no intention of doing so. If open confrontation was out of the question, she would resort to underhanded means. She would not sleep soundly until she got her revenge. At the very least, she would get back the 5 eggs she had spent and make Su Qingli pay for this. That was what Wu Chuanxia resolved to do. Over at Secretary Li's place, he hummed a tune all the way home and handed the package of food from Su Qingli to his wife. His wife smiled. That wife of Gu Changlin sure knows how to behave properly. Secretary Li took off his shoes and climbed onto the heated Kong bed. She certainly handles things better than that bunch from the Zhang family. Then I won't cook tomorrow morning. We can eat this, his wife said. Secretary Li nodded. Their son and daughter were attending high school in the county town, so only he and his wife stayed at home. There was more than enough food for the 2 of them. The next day, Su Qingli planned to head into the mountains to cut some wooden stakes. She sent little Gu Changwei over to Uncle Gu's house, slung an axe over her shoulder, and set off for the hills. It was truly bad luck. She had barely walked into the woods when she ran straight into Wu Chuanxia. She could not tell whether Wu Chuanxia had come to gather firewood or hunt for rabbits. When Wu Chuanxia caught sight of her, Su Qingli hefted her large axe in her hand. Wu Chuanxia had originally intended to go over and pick a quarrel with her, but the sight of that heavy axe made her think better of it. Forget it. There would be other chances. What if Su Qingli really swung that axe at her? She snorted coldly and turned to leave. Su Qingli shrugged and went on chopping wood. Luck was on her side that day. She caught 1 rabbit and 2 wild pheasants. She was astonished by her own good fortune. She cut quite a few large logs throughout the day. Once she hauled them home, she split them into steaks. One of these steaks could keep the Kong burning all night. She cleaned the rabbit and the pheasants. The rabbit meat would be for dinner that night, while the pheasants were stored in a vat outside to freeze. Added to the rabbit Gu Changsun had caught, they now had 2 rabbits in total. Su Qingli planned to cook both and send some over to Uncle Gu's household. Both rabbits had white fur. In a few days, she would tan the rabbit hides and make a fluffy fur hat for little Gu Changwei. To make braised rabbit meat, the meat first needed to be blanched in boiling water. Then she heated oil in the pot, fried dried chili peppers, Sichuan peppercorns, bay leaves, cinnamon, star anise, nutmeg, broad, bean paste, and other spices. She tossed in the rabbit meat, gave it a few stirs, poured in water, and simmered it over high heat until the sauce reduced. The braised rabbit meat was ready. One rabbit would be enough for the three of them, but Uncle Goo's family had many mouths to feed. Plain rabbit meat alone would not go far, so Su Qingli added potatoes to the dish, making braised rabbit meat with potatoes. Having 2 cooking pots was very convenient. She steamed rice in the big pot and prepared the stew in the small one. The meal was soon done. She filled a big basin with rabbit meat and potatoes. Seeing this, Aunt Gu said, "That's such a large portion. Didn't you keep any for yourselves?" "I caught another rabbit up in the mountains today," Su Qingli replied. Aunt Gu clicked her tongue. "You have such extraordinary luck." She made a mental note to send her own children up the mountains the next day, hoping they might catch a pheasant or a hare. It would be wonderful if they could even hunt a wild boar, though such encounters were rare. Uncle Goo's whole family enjoyed their supper thoroughly. Thanks to the big basin of rabbit meat from Su Qingli, Aunt Gu only made an egg drop soup to go with it. Braised rabbit meat paired with cornmeal flatbread tasted amazing. Dipping the flatbread into the rich sauce was absolutely delicious. Sister-in-law Gu said, "I wonder how Qingli seasons this dish. It tastes so wonderful." She had eaten rabbit meat before, yet none had ever tasted this good. Even the bones were full of flavor. "She must have used lots of spices," Aunt Gu remarked. At that moment, she bit down on a Sichuan peppercorn. "See? This thing gives a tingly numbing sensation." Third sister-in-law Gu put in, "I've heard people in Sichuan province love spicy and numbing food." As they chatted, second brother Gu and second sister-in-law Gu helped themselves to another piece of rabbit meat. For a little while no one spoke, everyone focused entirely on eating. The following day Su Qingli had no pressing chores. After Gu Changsun left for school, she asked little Gu Changwei whether she wanted to play over at Uncle Gu's place. The little girl said no. Su Qingli set out some snacks and let her stay indoors. Thanks to proper care and the nourishing spring water from her space, Gu Changyue's hair had grown thick and black, and her face was fair and smooth. Su Qingli took out the 2 rabbit hides. Since she had free time, she would tan them. Tanning rabbit hides started with soaking them in water, then painstakingly scraping away all the connective tissue beneath the fur. This step was the most tedious. Working on the 2 hides took her the whole morning and wore her patience thin, but at last she finished. Next, she sprinkled salt over the inner side of the hides to cure them for 2 days before moving on to the next stage. For lunch, she cooked black, sesame-filled glutinous rice dumplings, which Gu Changwei adored. They were soft, sticky, and sweet. Gu Changwei ate 8 of them, while Su Qingli ate 10. In the afternoon, she had nothing urgent to do. She read a German book for a while, then knitted a sweater. Time slipped by quickly. Dinner time came round again. It felt as though she spent every single day either cooking or getting ready to cook. They had been eating pork bones and braised rabbit meat for the past 2 days, so Su Qingli wanted something light. She decided to make mutton noodle flake soup. She had first tasted the soup at a barbecue restaurant and had been deeply impressed. She had asked the chef for the recipe, and he had told her how to make it. It was fairly simple. You simmered sheep bones for broth, dropped in hand-pulled noodle flakes, added tomatoes, Chinese cabbage, coriander, and other vegetables, and threw in a few slices of mutton. But it was winter. There were no fresh tomatoes or Chinese cabbage to be found. Fortunately, she still had coriander. Coriander was such a versatile herb. It was Su Qingli's favorite vegetable. Not long after she had traveled to this era, she had planted coriander in pots inside her bedroom. At first it had grown poorly, but after she watered it with some of her special spring water, it thrived. Su Qingli made the mutton noodle flake soup in a clay casserole instead of using the big stove. She took 2 lamb ribs out of her spatial storage, chopped them into pieces, and put them in the casserole to boil. While the lamb cooked, she mixed dough for the noodle flakes. Once the meat was tender enough, she fished it out, removed the bones, sliced the meat, and put it back into the pot together with the noodle flakes. Before serving, she sprinkled chopped coriander on top. The aroma was incredible. Gu Changsun arrived home right at dinner time. As soon as he stepped inside, he exclaimed, "It smells wonderful." "Sister-in-law, what are you cooking?" "Mutton noodle flake soup." "Go wash your hands and come eat." "Okay." Gu Changsun did not ask where the mutton had come from. His sister-in-law had gone to the county seat a few days earlier. He assumed she had bought it either from the supply and marketing cooperative or somewhere else. She always had her ways of getting hold of good things. Just as the 3 of them sat down to eat, eldest brother Gu hurried over. A bad premonition washed over Su Qingli. Eldest brother Gu said, "Qingli, the commune phoned. Changlin has been wounded and discharged from the army. We have to go meet him at the provincial capital railway station. He will arrive at noon the day after tomorrow. Eldest brother Gu was distraught. What sort of injury had his brother sustained? And why were they being told to pick him up at the station? When she heard the news, Su Qingli's heart jolted. Just as she had suspected, the male antagonist of the story was coming home. Yet, she must not look so calm. She needed to show shock and worry. She put on a look of astonishment. What did you say, eldest brother? Changlin has been wounded and discharged. Eldest brother Gu sat down on the edge of the Kong bed. Yes. The commune said Changlin himself called them. Back then only the commune had a public telephone. No private households had one. Is Big Brother hurt? Has he been fighting? Is he coming home? Gu Changsun set down his bowl and rushed over. How badly is he hurt? Eldest brother Gu shook his head. We don't know. The commune only told us to go to the provincial capital station to fetch him. If he had not been seriously hurt, he would not have been discharged from service. Su Qingli paced across the room. Eldest brother, we should head for the county town tomorrow morning. Did Changlin say when he set off? Gu Changlin had been stationed in province, Wei on the southern border of the country. The train ride from there to their home region took at least 2 days. If they left the county town by bus tomorrow, it would take them roughly a full day to reach the provincial capital. Eldest brother Gu calmed down. Worrying and making wild guesses would accomplish nothing. They would know the full story only once they saw Changlin in person. You're right. We must set off very early tomorrow, or we will miss the bus. Gu Changsun was so worried about his elder brother that he lost his appetite. He stood beside the grown-ups listening intently. Little Gu Changwei had only met her eldest brother a few times, but she had been old enough to remember him when he had come home the previous year. She knew that besides Gu Changsun, she had another elder brother serving in the army. Upon hearing he was coming back, she also ran over to listen. Su Qingli glanced at the children. Go on and eat. She turned to eldest brother Gu. Have you eaten, eldest brother? Eldest brother Gu nodded. I've already eaten, younger sibling, in law. Have some more then. I made mutton noodle, flake soup. After we finish eating, we'll go to the village party secretary's house to get our travel permit. The savory smell of mutton soup filled the room. Eldest brother Gu did not stand on ceremony. He sat at the table and Su Qingli ladled him a large bowl of noodle, flake soup. Though the soup was delicious, none of them enjoyed the meal. By the time they finished supper, night had fallen. Afraid the 2 children would be frightened staying home alone, Su Qingli sent them over to Uncle Gu's house. Then she and eldest brother Gu set off to see the village party secretary for the travel permit. Uncle Gu and Aunt Gu were deeply troubled. Ever since hearing the news, Uncle Gu had been smoking non-stop and Aunt Gu paced back and forth across the floor. Husband, what kind of injury do you think Changlin has? How serious can it be? Aunt Gu said. Battles were full of dangers. A young man from a village next to her natal home had gone off to war whole and sound, but had returned missing one leg, blown off in combat. The thought made Aunt Gu's heart sink. She dared not imagine the same fate for Changlin. Second brother Gu said, Mother, please sit down. All this pacing is making my head spin. Speculating gets us nowhere. We have to wait until Changlin is home. Third brother Gu added, That's true. Since Changlin could make a phone call himself, his wounds must have healed, or they are not life-threatening. He was probably discharged because his injuries left some after effects. He can still live an ordinary civilian life, but he is no longer fit for military service. Aunt Gu halted her pacing. Yes, that could well be it. Coming home is for the best anyway. Qingli has had a hard time raising the 2 children on her own. War is brutal. Returning to farm the land is not such a bad outcome. Reassured by his son's words, Uncle Gu set down his pipe and stopped smoking. The next day, Su Qingli woke at 3 o'clock in the morning. The bus from the county town to the provincial capital departed at 7. The journey from Green Hills Production Brigade to the county town itself took 2 hours on foot. They had to get up extremely early to make it in time. Su Qingli boiled dumplings, woke the children, and fed them breakfast. Carrying a flashlight, she took the 2 youngsters to Uncle Gu's house. It was only 3:30. Everyone in Uncle Gu's household was still asleep except for Uncle Gu, Aunt Gu, and eldest brother Gu, who had just gotten up. Su Qingli pulled out the wrapped dumplings she had brought and handed them to eldest brother Gu. Eat these first. We won't get another chance for a meal before we reach the provincial capital. It was far too early for Aunt Gu to have started preparing breakfast. Since eldest brother Gu was accompanying her, she could not let him go hungry for hours. All right, eldest brother Gu replied and quickly ate the still warm dumplings. Before they left, Aunt Gu fetched the heavy military overcoat Gu Chonglin had sent home in the past and insisted eldest brother Gu put it on. The winter weather was bitterly cold. From Green Hills Production Brigade, people traveled to the county town either on foot or by ox-drawn cart. The previous day, right after getting their travel permit, Su Qingli had spoken to the cart driver. She offered him half a jean of brown sugar in exchange for taking them into town early that morning, and he had agreed. It was 4 o'clock in the morning. The world was pitch black. You could barely see your hand in front of your face. Besides Su Qingli and eldest brother Gu, 3 other passengers rode on the cart. 2 of them were people Su Qingli did not get along with, Wu Chuanxia and Tang Wanru. Su Qingli thought the cart driver had acted in bad faith, secretly picking up extra passengers after striking a deal with her. Well, if it isn't educated youth Su. Heading into the county town so early. Tang Wanru leaned over and spoke to her uninvited. Her breath smelled foul. Had she not brushed her teeth that morning? Su Qingli was repulsed and wanted nothing to do with her, but Tang Wanru would not let it go. Hey, I'm talking to you. Can't you hear me? Your breath stinks. Su Qingli shot her a cold glance and pulled her scarf over her nose. The bad breath was real, and the frigid wind also stung her nostrils. You! Tang Wanru flew into a rage. This woman had mocked food stuck between her teeth last time, and now she insulted her breath. She had brushed her teeth that morning. After a short while, Tang Wanru seemed to calm down. She said slowly, Su Qingli, I know where you're going. You're off to the provincial capital to fetch your wounded, discharged husband, aren't you? What? Who's been discharged? Wu Chuanxia, who had sat quiet up to then, perked up and grabbed Tang Wanru's arm for details. Tang Wanru wrinkled her nose at Wu Chuanxia. In her opinion, Wu Chuanxia smelled far worse, yet she was happy to share the gossip. Who else? Educated youth Su's soldier husband, of course. She smirked inwardly. Now that Gu Chonglin was wounded and discharged, Su Qingli's good days were over. What? Gu Chonglin is being discharged? Wu Chuanxia was stunned. Tang Wanru nodded. I heard staff at the commune talking about it yesterday. It's true. The news filled Wu Chuanxia with delight, more delight than if she had eaten a feast of meat. With Gu Chonglin discharged, there would no longer be a monthly military allowance. Without that money, Su Qingli and the rest of the Gu family could no longer put on airs. What kind of injury had he suffered? Could he have lost an arm or a leg? What perfect karma! Wu Chuanxia could not hold back her laughter. She jeered loudly, Su Qingli. You refused to pay us compensation, and now your man gets wounded out on the battlefield. If you had given us that money, you might have bought yourself some good fortune. Huh. This is just deserts. You deserve it. Wu Chuanxia's words were vicious. Even Tang Wanru had not expected her to say something so cruel. Before anyone could react, Su Qingli raised her hand and slapped Wu Chuanxia hard across the face. Crack! The force knocked Wu Chuanxia right off the ox cart. Su Qingli jumped down after her, straddled Wu Chuanxia and struck her again and again across the cheeks. You wanted me to pay you money? Fine, I'll give you what you deserve. Slap. 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 Wu Chuanxia was dazed. Tang Wanru was stunned. The cart driver, eldest brother Gu, and the other educated youth riding along all stared in shock. No one had expected a fight to break out of nowhere. She stood frozen for several seconds before coming to her senses. Brother Gu hurried over to pull Su Qingli back, but Su Qingli was in a towering rage and could not be restrained. Watch your vile tongue. I'll beat your mouth to a pulp today. Slap. 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 She kept striking until her own hand ached and she finally stopped. Wu Chuanxia's face had swollen up like a steamed bun. As Su Qingli stood up, she gave Wu Chuanxia a kick. Dazed from the beating, Wu Chuanxia could not react at all. It was only with the help of Tang Wanru and the young educated, city dweller that she managed to get back on her feet. After standing stunned for several more seconds, she finally snapped out of it and shouted, Su Qingli, you hit me. With that, she lunged towards Su Qingli with her claws out. Su Qingli kicked her hard. Wu Chuanxia landed hard on her rear end. Sister-in-law, sister-in-law. What on earth is going on? Why have you started fighting all of a sudden? Brother Gu asked in a panic. He had been chatting with the ox cart driver and had no idea what had happened behind him. She said Gu Chonglin's injury was karmic retribution. She said he deserved it because we wouldn't give them compensation. She actually said his injuries were well-deserved. Su Qingli's voice shook as she spoke, and tears rolled down her cheeks before she could stop them. My husband served in the army defending our homeland and was wounded on the battlefield, yet she says he deserved it, that it's karmic retribution. Su Qingli was burning with fury. In her previous life, living nearly 30 years, she had never felt so enraged. A soldier who had fought to protect the country got wounded, and someone dared to say he deserved it, that it was karmic retribution? Deserved what? What karmic retribution? Was that even a human thing to say? Not just Su Qingli, even Brother Gu and the ox cart driver felt the urge to hit her. Was that something a citizen of this country ought to say? Had she no conscience at all? No decent person would utter such words. Even Tang Wanru thought Wu Chuanxia had gone far too far with her remarks, and that the beating she had received was well earned. Brother Gu glared fiercely at Wu Chuanxia. His gaze was sharp as a blade. If looks could kill, Wu Chuanxia would have been dead on the spot. Reading the expressions on everyone's faces, Wu Chuanxia trembled. She wanted to say something but dared not. She had been so overjoyed upon hearing the news that the words had slipped out before she could hold them back. Su Qingli walked up to Wu Chuanxia and said to her, "If you want to end up in hospital and try to extort money from me, I will grant you that wish. Go ahead and report this to the police. When I get back from the provincial capital, we will settle old scores along with the new ones." Wu Chuanxia stared daggers at her, as if she wanted to devour her alive. They reached the county seat at 6 o'clock in the morning. Wu Chuanxia immediately started clamoring to go to hospital. Tang Wanru and the other educated city dweller had come to buy supplies at the supply and marketing cooperative. Since it was not yet open, they claimed they would accompany Wu Chuanxia to hospital, but in truth they just wanted to watch the drama unfold. "Su Qingli, you are going to pay me compensation. Not 1,000 yuan, I want 2,000 yuan. Otherwise I will stay in hospital and refuse to leave." Wu Chuanxia started making wild threats again. "Dream on. I will only cover your medical bills. If you try to extort money out of me, I will beat you until your bones are broken." Su Qingli shook her fist fiercely. Then she smiled and asked her, "Do you want me to land a punch on you?" Wu Chuanxia shook all over with rage. She had never been humiliated so badly in her 30 years of life. She had been struck repeatedly and forced to the ground in front of onlookers. She longed to tear Su Qingli apart, to feast on her flesh and drink her blood. But she could not beat Su Qingli. She simply could not get the better of her. She had never lost a fight even against the fiercest shrew in Qingshan Production Brigade, yet she had been completely powerless against Su Qingli. That woman possessed tremendous strength, greater even than that of a grown man. "I am going to report you to the Public Security Bureau and have the police lock you up." Wu Chuanxia took deep breaths, forcing herself to calm down. She knew picking another fight with Su Qingli would gain her nothing, and she feared she might really end up with broken bones. She would file her complaint once the police station opened for business. Su Qingli curled her lip in a cold smile. "It is not certain who the police will take into custody. After all, you insulted and mocked a wounded, demobilized serviceman. Once the officers hear the full story, they might very well take you in for ideological re-education." Wu Chuanxia fell silent. This woman outfought her and argued her. There was nothing she could do but hold her tongue for now. She would go to the police later and let them deal with this vicious woman. Miraculously, the ox cart driver dropped them right at the hospital gate. Su Qingli checked the time shown by her system. There were still 50 minutes until 7 o'clock. They would make it. Though hospital staff had not officially started work, duty doctors were on call. When the doctor saw Wu Chuanxia's badly swollen cheeks, his drowsiness vanished in an instant. What happened here? Had someone beaten her?" "I hit her," Su Qingli said plainly. The doctor stared in shock. "Why? What grievance could be great enough for such violence?" Su Qingli gave a cold snort. "She said my husband deserved his wounds, called it karmic retribution. I lost my temper and struck her." The doctor nodded inwardly. Truth be told, the woman had asked for it. Her words had been utterly vicious. Still, one slap would have sufficed. Beating her this badly meant paying for her treatment, which was hardly worthwhile. "Doctor, please examine her." "I will go settle the bill," Su Qingli said. The doctor nodded. Su Qingli went to the payment window and handed over 10 yuan, saying she would come back the next day and they would settle any surplus or deficit. Wu Chuanxia's injuries to her face would not cost nearly 10 yuan, so some money would surely be left over. Tang Wanru and the other educated city dweller stayed behind at the hospital with Wu Chuanxia. Su Qingli and Brother Gu stepped outside, where the ox cart driver was waiting by the gate. "I will drive you both to the bus station," he offered. "Thank you for your trouble, uncle," Brother Gu replied. The old man waved off his thanks. The ox cart creaked onward, and they reached the bus stop by 6:30. When they climbed down, Su Qingli pressed 2 yuan into the driver's hand. Uncle Lu, when Wu Chuanxia goes to report to the Public Security Bureau, please go with her and give the police officers a full, truthful account of everything that took place. The ox cart driver tried to refuse the money. Child, there is no need for payment. I shall tell the officers exactly what I witnessed, you have my word. Su Qingli stuffed the money firmly into his pocket. Please take it. Besides this matter, I would also ask you to come to the county tomorrow to pick us up. Now we must go buy our tickets and board the bus. Time presses. The old man accepted the money and promised to recount every detail to the police. He swore he would come for them the next day, rain or wind. Su Qingli nodded and waved. We are heading inside. You ought to head back now. After the ox cart driver departed, Su Qingli and Brother Gu went into the station to buy tickets. The coach ride from the county to the provincial capital would take more than 3 hours. Before boarding, Su Qingli visited the station restroom. Once seated on the bus, Brother Gu spoke. Qingli, you acted rather impulsively today. He had burned with anger too, and had wanted to throw a punch himself. Even so, looking back, beating her meant paying her medical expenses, and that seemed a high price to pay. Uncle, her words were simply too malicious. Su Qingli would have held back if she could, but she had reached her limit. Even thinking back on those cruel remarks stirred her anger. In her past life, she had encountered plenty of spiteful people online hiding behind screens, spouting hurtful remarks beyond reach of the law. Now she had met one in real life. No beating could ever fully soothe her rage. Brother Gu sighed. You ought to be more careful with your spending from now on. Changlin has been demobilized, so his military stipend will stop coming each month. I understand, uncle. Still, my family sends me money every month, Su Qingli said quietly. By family she meant her system, which gave her 300 yuan each month. Really? How much do they send? Brother Gu asked. 50 or 100 yuan, more or less, Su Qingli answered. 50 or 100. Brother Gu nearly bit his own tongue in surprise. That is right, Su Qingli nodded. Brother Gu thought to himself, I shall pretend I never asked. If I got 50 or 100 yuan each month, I would spend freely too. Of all forms of transport, Su Qingli hated coaches most. As soon as she stepped aboard, the overwhelming smell of gasoline filled her nose. Simply imagining the fumes made her feel carsick and nauseous. People were strange. Some people actually liked that smell. Brother Gu was one of them. I quite enjoy the smell of gasoline, he commented. Su Qingli's face twisted in disgust. She felt queasy even before the bus pulled away. Fortunately, she was well prepared. Before setting out, she had dabbed some jasmine, scented perfume from her previous life onto her scarf. The fragrance eased her discomfort considerably. The coach departed at about 7:10. The vehicle jolted and swayed along the road. Having gotten up extremely early, Su Qingli grew drowsy. She covered her nose with her scarf and planned to doze off. Brother Gu had already struck up a conversation with the man sitting in front of them. Su Qingli closed her eyes and drifted into sleep. 3 hours passed. The coach arrived in the provincial capital. Brother Gu shook Su Qingli awake. She checked the time. It was 10:30. Once off the bus, Su Qingli and Brother Gu found a guest house to catch up on sleep. First, however, they needed to eat lunch. 7 hours had passed since 3 o'clock that morning, and Su Qingli was ravenous. Uncle, let us go find something to eat. She led Brother Gu into a state-run restaurant. Looking over the menu, she spotted braised pork and decided on that with steamed rice. Sister-in-law, 2 steamed buns will be enough for me, Brother Gu whispered, tugging at her sleeve. He had already eaten well these past few days. Rabbit meat the day before yesterday, mutton noodle soup last night, dumplings that morning. He had enjoyed more good food in these few days than in an entire ordinary year. Su Qingli turned toward him. But uncle, I do not want to eat steamed buns. Very well, then get me 1 steamed bun. Here are my food coupons. Brother Gu reached inside his coat. Su Qingli held his hand down. Keep your coupons, uncle. I have plenty. Since you came with me, it is only right I cover your food and lodging. She ordered 1 serving of braised pork, 2 portions of steamed rice, and 2 bottles of orange-flavored soda. Brother Gu thought his sister-in-law spent money far too freely. Young people raised in big cities really were different from country folk like him. The chef was highly skilled. The braised pork glistened, rich yet not greasy, tender and sweet. Both of them ate every last bite, mixing the leftover sauce into their rice. They finished the meal sipping cold orange soda, and it tasted perfect. Brother Gu reflected that this was what life ought to be like. If only he could eat braised pork every day. He had never eaten so much of it before. Normally, he would only get 1 or 2 small bites. After lunch, they returned to the guest house and slept. Su Qingli woke at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, having slept for 3 hours. She listened outside Brother Gu's room and heard loud snoring. He was still fast asleep. Since they had come all the way to the provincial capital, Su Qingli decided to go out exploring. Above all, she wanted to visit the local department store. She asked the front desk clerk for directions and set off. A 20-minute walk brought her there. The provincial capital was impressive. The department store had 5 floors, and she wondered whether goods were sold on every level. She walked inside. Crowds milled about, and counters displayed a dazzling array of merchandise. Originally, she had only intended to browse, not buy anything. But with money in her pocket, self-restraint proved impossible. She spotted Mutai liquor and bought several bottles. She saw hawthorn fruit and purchased some to make candied hawthorn skewers for the 2 children, along with canned hawthorn. She picked up 2 red hair ornaments for little Gu Changwei. She noticed she had no dried goods in her spatial storage, only fresh vegetables. So she bought wood, ear fungus, tremella, and dried mushrooms. By the time she finished shopping, she had bought 5 bottles of mutai, 5 jean of hawthorn fruit, 5 cans of hawthorn, 2 jean of wood, ear fungus, 1 jean of tremella, 2 jean of dried mushrooms, 5 jean of peanuts, 1 liquor set, 1 tea set, 2 jean of tea leaves, 10 bowls and 10 plates, 2 large serving bowls, 4 bags of milk powder, 4 bags of white rabbit toffees, 5 jean of sweet sponge cakes, 5 jean of fried rice, flour twists, 2 bottles of vanishing cream, 2 towels, and 2 toothbrushes. She also bought thermal underwear and 5 pairs of socks for Gu Chonglin, plus several bolts of cloth. The cloth was meant for Uncle Gu and his wife to make new clothes. The milk powder and toffees were gifts for their household. One of the 2 bottles of vanishing cream was for Brother Gu's wife. Since Brother Gu had been running errands on her behalf, she wanted to show her gratitude. These gifts were not given purely out of kindness. Now that Gu Chonglin was back home wounded and unable to work, the family would rely heavily on Uncle Gu's household for help. It was wise to build good relations with them early on. Su Qingli stowed most of her purchases in her spatial storage, keeping only a large bundle to carry back to the guest house. It was already 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and the sun was beginning to sink low. She suddenly realized she had completely forgotten about supper. Checking her spatial storage, she found 10 meat buns remaining. They would make their evening meal. She took out 5, she would eat 2, and Brother Gu could have the other 3. When she returned to the guest house, Brother Gu was sitting in the lobby. He stood up quickly upon seeing her return. "Sister-in-law, you are far too bold. How could you wander off alone in an unfamiliar city?" He had woken to find her gone. The front desk clerk had told him she had gone to the department store, and sure enough she came back weighed down with parcels. Su Qingli smiled. "There is nothing to fear. Are you hungry, uncle? I bought steamed meat buns." She pulled out the oil, paper, wrapped buns. He had not been starving, but he had been worried about her. Still, remembering how forcefully she had fought earlier, he supposed she could take care of herself. So he had waited downstairs. Su Qingli fetched 2 cups of hot water from the front desk, and they ate their buns together. "Look at the craftsmanship. Just look at these folds." Brother Gu praised as he bit into his bun. The buns were white and soft, each with 18 neat pleats. Brother Gu knew he could never fold them so perfectly himself. Su Qingli agreed with his praise. Secretly, she thought she excelled at making steamed buns. She could make every single one with exactly 18 beautiful pleats. When they finished eating, they went upstairs. Su Qingli pulled out the bottle of vanishing cream and handed it to Brother Gu. "Uncle, take this and give it to your wife." No, Qingli, you keep it for yourself." "My wife does not use things like this." Brother Gu waved his hands in refusal. Su Qingli thought that was nonsense. What woman would not want vanishing cream? Most simply could not afford it. "Please take it, uncle. I bought this one specially for her." She slipped it into the pocket of his overcoat. She turned to go into her own room, then opened the door again. "Remember, there is only this one bottle. Tell your wife it is for her, and do not mention it to other people." Brother Gu understood her meaning and nodded. The vanishing cream came in a fine white porcelain jar, and its fragrance drifted out even through the closed lid. He imagined his wife Lan Lan would be delighted to receive it. He wished he had enough money to buy a bottle for his own daughter too. There was nothing else to do for the rest of the evening. Back in her room, Su Qingli sorted through her purchases and read for a while before going to bed. Barring accidents, the antagonist's older brother would arrive in Heilongjiang province tomorrow. Su Qingli looked forward to their meeting. The next day, Brother Gu woke at 5 o'clock in the morning and woke Su Qingli as well. Su Qingli groaned. "Uncle, it is still hours before noon. We cannot afford to sleep in, sister-in-law. Washing up and eating will take time. We ought to get to the train station early and wait." Helplessly, Su Qingli got out of bed. They walked along pitch black streets. "Uncle, no restaurants are open yet," Su Qingli pointed out. Brother Gu fell silent for several seconds. "Should we go back then?" "Of course we should. We are far too early." Back at the guest house, Su Qingli had hoped to sleep some more, yet sleepiness had left her. She decided to read instead. Her system said studying early in the morning improved memory and was gentler on the eyes. By 8 o'clock, Su Qingli judged the state-run restaurants would be open. She went out and passed Brother Gu's room, from which thunderous snoring echoed. Su Qingli sighed. She woke Brother Gu. He jolted upright in bed, stood frozen for 2 seconds, then asked, "Sister-in-law, what time is it?" 8 o'clock, uncle. Let us go get breakfast." Brother Gu nodded. They returned to the same state-run restaurant they had visited the day before. Su Qingli ordered 6 sesame cakes, 2 portions of tofu pudding, and 2 cups of soybean milk. She loved both tofu pudding and soybean milk. After breakfast, they headed for the train station to wait for the arriving passenger. With no mobile phones to pass the time, the wait felt endless and the station was cold. Su Qingli paced back and forth to keep warm. Brother Gu, by contrast, appeared extremely sociable. He had already struck up a lively chat with several people sitting nearby, gesturing enthusiastically as he talked. Meanwhile, back in the county seat, Wu Chuanxia had put medicine on her swollen face. When office hours began, she went straight to the Public Security Bureau. "Comrade police officer, I have been assaulted. Look at my face," she wailed, tears streaming down her cheeks. A policewoman handed her a tissue and tried to soothe her. "Calm down. Tell us who hit you." Wiping her tears, Wu Chuanxia gave her version of events, emphasizing only details favorable to herself. Tang Wanru and the other educated city dweller had gone to the supply and marketing cooperative, so only the ox cart driver had accompanied her to the police station. Seeing Wu Chuanxia twisting the truth, the ox cart driver spoke up. "Comrade officers, I was present. This is what really happened." He told the whole story and also mentioned the earlier incident where Wu Chuanxia's family had tried to extort compensation over a fight between 2 small children. He had heard those details from Brother Gu. The Gu family enjoyed a good reputation in the village and the ox cart driver trusted Brother Gu's word. When the police officers learned the trouble had begun because the woman had insulted a wounded demobilized combat veteran, they grew angry. The policewoman in particular was incensed. Her own father was also a wounded veteran who had endured sneers and gossip from neighbors. She stopped comforting Wu Chuanxia and sat back down with a stern expression. "Comrade officer, no matter what I said, hitting people is wrong." Wu Chuanxia shot an angry glare at the ox cart driver for ruining her case. "True enough, assault is wrong," an officer replied. "But were you not taken to hospital and given medical treatment already? What more do you want?" "I demand compensation." Wu Chuanxia held up 5 fingers. "At the very least 500 yuan. The officers exchanged glances. It was plain the woman was trying to squeeze money out of the situation. "You have already received payment for your medical care. Why should you get another 500 yuan? They thought her demand utterly outrageous. Wu Chuanxia thought hard, recalling something Tang Wanru had told her. "It is compensation for mental distress." "Yes, mental distress. I suffered terrible dizziness and public humiliation from being beaten." "We have never heard of such a thing," the officers said, shaking their heads. "You may go home for now. We will resolve this once the other party returns. You might also try reaching a private settlement." Wu Chuanxia stared in disbelief. "Will you not give me justice? Look what she did to my face." The officers grew exasperated. "The person who hit you is away in the provincial capital. We cannot do anything without her here. What is more, you began the conflict with insulting remarks. Stay right there. We need to give you a serious talking, too." They proceeded to give Wu Chuanxia ideological education. To insult a front-line People's Liberation Army soldier simply because his family refused to submit to extortion showed appalling moral character. An hour later, Wu Chuanxia left the police station grumbling under her breath. Defending the country, What has that got to do with me? Gu Chonglin fought down south, not up north. He protected southern common folk, not us. Still she dared not say this aloud, for the officers had given her a thorough dressing down. Back in the provincial capital's train station. It was already 12 noon. Brother Gu stopped chatting and kept glancing toward the station exit. Somehow Su Qingli found herself growing nervous as well. Thinking back, the original host had only spent 3 days with Gu Chonglin, and the two barely knew each other. He should not be able to tell that a different soul had taken over the body. Su Qingli and eldest brother Gu stared intently at the train station exit, watching so hard their eyes grew tired, yet no one emerged. It was already 12 o'clock, and she was starting to feel hungry. She was both cold and hungry. Eldest brother Gu said he needed to use the restroom, and Su Qingli told him to go. Qingli, keep your eyes on this exit. Right after eldest brother Gu left, 2 men in army, green military uniforms walked out of the station. One of them was seated in a wheelchair. Su Qingli's heart raced. She rubbed her eyes. Sure enough, there were 2 men in military uniforms. But from far away, she could not make out their faces clearly. Su Qingli walked forward, step by step. When she got close enough to see his face, it was Gu Chonglin, exactly as she remembered him. For some reason, seeing Gu Chonglin in this state filled Su Qingli with sudden sorrow. It felt strange. This body had belonged to the original host. Could this be the body's instinctive reaction? Yet the original host and Gu Chonglin had hardly shared deep feelings. If these emotions were not the body's, then they must be hers. But this was her very first time meeting Gu Chonglin. Where could such feelings possibly come from? When Gu Chonglin saw her, he opened his mouth but said nothing, unsure what to say. Su Qingli unwound her scarf and wrapped it around his neck. Don't you know how cold it gets here? Why are you wearing so little? He only had on a thin cotton, padded jacket. Without waiting for Gu Changlin's response, she turned and smiled at the PLA soldier pushing his wheelchair. Let me take over. Just then, eldest brother Gu hurried over. Chonglin. The moment eldest brother Gu laid eyes on Gu Chonglin in the wheelchair, his eyes turned red. He had left in good health, so how had he come back like this? When Gu Chonglin saw eldest brother Gu, he called out in a choked voice, "Eldest brother." Eldest brother Gu embraced him. It's all right. Eldest brother is here. Don't be afraid. I'm right here with you. Su Qingli wiped away her tears. She felt deep sympathy for Gu Chonglin, though not the romantic kind. It was the sympathy of an ordinary citizen for a PLA soldier. War was cruel. Countless soldiers had lost their lives on the battlefield or been left with permanent disabilities. What would become of the rest of their lives? What about their parents, wives, husbands, and children? Comrade, thank you for all your trouble along the way. Gu Chonglin spoke to the PLA soldier who had escorted him. The soldier replied that it was his duty, saluted, and departed. Look at you, not dressing warmly enough. Have you forgotten how bitterly cold our winters are after spending years away? Eldest brother Gu took off his military overcoat and draped it over Gu Changlin's shoulders. Su Qingli pushed the wheelchair while eldest brother Gu carried their luggage. The 3 of them walked out of the train station. Let's get something to eat first before heading back to the guest house, Su Qingli suggested. Gu Chonglin and eldest brother Gu both nodded. They went to the state-run restaurant and ordered 2 dishes, beef stew with potatoes and stir-fried Chinese cabbage. Su Qingli already knew Gu Changlin's full story, so she had no urgent questions. But eldest brother Gu did not know, and he brought up the subject over their meal. Chonglin, what happened to your legs? Were you injured and temporarily unable to walk, or is it something else? Gu Chonglin pressed his lips together. The doctor said 2 shrapnel fragments are lodged in my lumbar spine. They are pressing against my nerves, so my legs cannot move and have lost all sensation. Eldest brother Gu knew nothing about nerves. He only understood that shrapnel in his brother's lower back had robbed him of the use of his legs. Then what can be done? Can the shrapnel be removed? Eldest brother Gu asked anxiously. Su Qingli also looked toward Gu Chonglin. She recalled from the book that this surgery could only be performed in the capital. Even if the operation went ahead, recovery was not guaranteed, and there was a risk of total body paralysis. Most importantly, they lacked enough money for the procedure. It would cost several thousand yuan, though the novel never gave an exact figure. Later, when money finally became available, Gu Changlin's physical condition was no longer suitable for surgery. Gu Chonglin took a bite of his rice. The army doctors said this kind of surgery can only be done in the capital. Eldest brother Gu fell silent for 2 seconds. Then we will go to the capital for treatment. By the way, did the army doctors tell you how much the surgery would cost? Gu Chonglin shook his head. Su Qingli spoke up. Here is what we will do. We will rest here for the night and go to the hospital tomorrow to hear what local doctors have to say. Gu Chonglin needed the surgery. The odds of paralysis versus regaining the ability to stand were not completely hopeless. If there was a chance, they had to try. Yes, exactly. We will go see doctors tomorrow, Chonglin, eldest brother Gu agreed. In this era, the Northeast was fairly well developed. Local hospitals had decent facilities and skilled doctors. Not quite matching those in the capital, but still very capable. Gu Chonglin nodded. After finishing their meal, they returned to the guest house. Chonglin, you have traveled for 2 straight days. Get some sleep, eldest brother Gu said. Gu Chonglin was truly exhausted. His nerves had been taut for days, and he could finally relax now that he was with his family. Eldest brother Gu prepared to lift him onto the bed, but Su Qingli stepped forward. Let me do this, eldest brother. She would have to perform tasks like this many times in the future. She might as well get used to it now. Can you lift him? Eldest brother Gu stared at her. Of course I can. I could even lift 200 jin, Su Qingli replied. She walked over to Gu Chonglin. Wrap your arms around my neck. Gu Chonglin froze for a moment, then looped both arms around her neck. Su Qingli lifted him in a bridal carry. Blessed with a superhuman strength boost, lifting the man was effortless, and he felt almost weightless. She set Gu Chonglin gently down onto the bed. Little sister-in-law, you are incredible. You are so strong, eldest brother Gu exclaimed. Su Qingli pulled the quilt over Gu Chonglin. I have always been unusually strong since childhood. It is just my natural constitution. Truly remarkable. Rest well, both of you. I will step outside, eldest brother Gu said. You should get some sleep too, little sister-in-law. Once Su Qingli had left the room, eldest brother Gu sat beside the bed and spoke to Gu Chonglin. Your wife is something else. That strength of hers, she could lift you right up. She certainly is, Gu Chonglin said with a faint smile. He had only spent 3 days with her and barely knew her. All he remembered was seeing her reduced to angry tears by other people's harsh words. Eldest brother Gu clicked his tongue. Let me tell you, your wife can stand her ground. Yesterday on our way here, Gu Chonglin looked surprised after hearing the story. Did she really do all that? Absolutely. Zhang Chang's wife had a face swollen like a steamed bun. Still, you cannot blame little sister-in-law. That woman said terrible, vicious things. If Wu Chuanxia had not been a woman, eldest brother Gu would have wanted to fight her himself. Gu Chonglin smiled. She really is quite something. That she is. And you need that kind of toughness to get by in the village. Su Qingli had not gone to sleep at all. She headed for the department store. Gu Chonglin only wore a thin cotton, padded jacket, thin shoes, and no scarf, hat, or gloves. He needed proper winter clothing. Fortunately, ready-made winter clothes were sold at the department store. Su Qingli bought a thick cotton, padded jacket and trousers, a hat, a scarf, and a pair of gloves. She also purchased a thick blanket. The wind was piercing. Even though Gu Chonglin could not feel his legs, extra layers would keep him warmer, at least from the waist up. Leaving the department store, she dropped by the state-run restaurant and bought 15 steamed buns to take away. They would eat dinner back at the guest house. It was far too cold outside. When Su Qingli returned to the guest house, all was quiet in eldest brother Gu's room. They must have been asleep. She went to her own room and read a German language book. Before long, voices drifted over from the next room. They had woken up. Soon there was a knock at her door. Little sister-in-law, are you awake? Su Qingli opened the door. I have not been sleeping. Has Chonglin woken up? He is awake. Come over and talk with him, eldest brother Gu said. Talk about what? Su Qingli agreed. Let me grab something first. She picked up her parcel. Where have you been? What is that? Eldest brother Gu asked. Winter clothes for Chonglin. He would freeze to death dressed so lightly in this weather. You are right. That boy never dresses warmly enough. They walked into the other room. Gu Chonglin smiled when he saw her come in. You have had your sleep, Su Qingli said as she approached him. Yes, he replied. Su Qingli unwrapped the parcel and held out the cotton, padded clothes. Try these on and see if they fit. Thank you, Qingli. Gu Chonglin took them and put them on. Eldest brother Gu saw that the parcel also contained cotton-lined shoes, a hat, a scarf and gloves, and he brightened. You have bought absolutely everything, even shoes and a hat. He dresses far too lightly. People can lose their ears to frostbite without a hat in this cold, Su Qingli said. They fit perfectly, Gu Chonglin said once he had finished changing. Su Qingli nodded in satisfaction. I knew my judgment was good. By the way, Chonglin, eldest brother Gu said, Aunt was making you a new cotton, padded garment too. She had not finished it yet by the time you came home. Before falling asleep the previous night, eldest brother Gu had told Gu Chonglin many things about home. How Su Qingli had made winter clothes for his younger siblings, given them milk powder and prepared good food every day. Eldest brother Gu kept saying how lucky he was to have married such a good wife. Gu Chonglin turned towards Su Qingli. Qingli, you have gone through so much hardship these past days. Su Qingli did not quite know how to respond to those words. She had not found things overly difficult so far, though some parts still felt unfamiliar. She smiled. It is nothing much. I only cook every day and I do not work in the fields. She quickly changed the subject. Chonglin, are you hungry? I am all right, not very hungry, Gu Chonglin shook his head. He had eaten a large lunch and not much time had passed. Su Qingli blinked. Is there anything you especially feel like eating? I can go buy it for you. She must keep looking after the male lead, especially in his current state. I will eat whatever is available, Gu Chonglin said. Eldest brother Gu cut in. It is far too cold to eat out. Let us bring food back here. Then I will go get our food now. It will be dark soon. Su Qingli stood up and left. Eldest brother Gu shot Gu Chonglin a glance. Why do you barely speak? The girl is doing all the talking. Gu Chonglin felt helpless. He truly did not know what to say. He and Su Qingli were legally married, yet they had only spent 3 days together. The first day he had pulled her out of the river when she fell in. The second day they had gotten engaged and registered their marriage. The third day they held the wedding ceremony, and immediately afterward he left for the army. He knew he had wronged her. He had never given her a proper wedding, and now he had returned home broken like this. Gu Chonglin hung his head. Seeing his dejected look, eldest brother Gu dropped the subject and comforted him. Do not worry so much, Chonglin. Tomorrow we will get checked out, and then we will travel to the capital for surgery. The operation will let you walk again. Eldest brother Gu was 15 years older than Gu Chonglin. Among all his brothers, he doted on Gu Chonglin the most. Even though they were not blood-related, Gu Chonglin had been an obedient little boy who always followed him around. Once eldest brother Gu had children, Gu Chonglin used to play with his young niece. Their grandparents had passed away very early. Gu Chonglin's father and mother had raised him, so the two families shared an extremely close bond, which extended to the younger generation. Outside the guest house, Su Qingli wandered around. She spotted hawthorn candied, fruit skewers out of supply, and marketing cooperative stall and bought one. She finished it before heading back. Back in the guest house room, she pulled out the still, warm steamed buns from her spatial storage, together with a canned peach jar. I am back. I bought steamed buns. Eldest brother Gu rambled about how they had been eating rich meat, heavy meals for several days in a row. Su Qingli opened the canned peaches and fetched a full thermos of hot water from the guest house front desk. This became their simple supper. Out of 15 steamed buns, Su Qingli ate 2, while Gu Chonglin and eldest brother Gu each ate 3. Some buns remained, and half the can of peaches was left over. We can save these to bring back for Chongwei and Chongsen, Su Qingli said. She turned to Gu Chonglin. Would you like to move around a little? Lying down non-stop cannot be comfortable. Gu Chonglin shook his head. Very well. An awkward silence threatened to settle over the room. Eldest brother Gu asked how Gu Chonglin had sustained his injuries, something Su Qingli had also wondered about, since the book had never described the incident. I was saving a soldier in my unit. Gu Chonglin had held the rank of platoon leader before discharge. In less than 4 years of military service and with no influential family background, reaching platoon leader rank proved he was exceptionally outstanding. Gu Chonglin began recounting stories from his army days. Both Su Qingli and eldest brother Gu listened with great interest, asking follow-up questions as he talked. Time slipped by, and it was 7 o'clock in the evening. Seeing how late it had grown, Su Qingli returned to her own room to sleep. For they were going to the hospital for examinations the next day. The next day, Su Qingli woke at 5 o'clock. She must have slept too early the night before, for she was fully rested and no longer sleepy. There was no noise from the next room. Everyone was still asleep. After washing up, Su Qingli read in her room. She was halfway through her German language textbook. 9.5 thick volumes remained, each almost as large as a dictionary. Knowledge was boundless, and she loved reading. She had loved it in her past life, and she loved it even more in this one. Quiet, solitary reading brought her great peace. At 7 o'clock, sounds came from the next room. Su Qingli did not rush over. 20 minutes later, eldest brother Gu knocked on her door. Little sister-in-law, are you up? I have been awake for quite a while. Su Qingli opened the door and let them in. Gu Chonglin wore the new clothes, shoes, hat, scarf and gloves she had bought for him. He looked neat and properly bundled against the cold. She took out the blanket she had purchased and laid it over his legs, covering his waist and abdomen. It is freezing outside. This will keep you warmer. You think of absolutely everything, little sister-in-law, eldest brother Gu said approvingly. Su Qingli smiled. She had learned thoroughness from all her past experiences. She must always look after the male lead. Gu Chonglin looked at her. Thank you, Qingli. Su Qingli raised an eyebrow. We're husband and wife. There is no need for such formal thanks. Gu Chonglin smiled. Su Qingli smiled back. Eldest brother Gu chuckled. What a lovely young couple. Come on, let us eat breakfast first and then go to the hospital. They returned to the same state-run restaurant from the day before. After eating, they asked for directions to the city's largest hospital, the first affiliated hospital. It was not far from the guest house. Su Qingli still found this era inconvenient. In her past life, she could always take vehicles or scan a code for a shared bicycle. Now she had to travel everywhere on foot. Though the distance was short, the walk still took nearly 30 minutes. By the time they arrived, her nose was bright red from the bitter cold. Inside the hospital, crowds were manageable, nothing like the teeming masses of patients in modern-day hospitals. They registered and consulted a doctor. The physician reviewed the medical documents and X-ray films they had brought from Province Y. Indeed, 2 shrapnel fragments are lodged in his back. They are pressing against the nerves of his spinal column, and that is why his legs have lost all motor function and sensation. Eldest brother Gu leaned forward anxiously. Doctor, can the shrapnel be surgically removed? We cannot perform this type of operation here. The spinal column is full of delicate nerves. One small mistake could result in total body paralysis. I recommend you travel to the capital and consult top specialists in this field. Listen to their professional advice before you decide whether to proceed with surgery. Su Qingli asked, Doctor, approximately how much money would such an operation cost? It was critical information to know. The doctor thought for a moment. You should prepare at least 3,000 yuan. That covers surgery fees, ward stays, and subsequent medical treatment if the specialists decide an operation is viable. 3,000 yuan? Eldest brother Gu was stunned. 3,000 yuan was an astronomical sum. Their whole family could not earn 300 yuan in an entire year, let alone 3,000. Understood. Thank you very much, Doctor, Su Qingli said. She currently had 2,500 yuan on hand, plus more than 200 yuan not yet withdrawn, bringing her total to 2,700. If surgery was needed, they would wait until after the Lunar New Year, by which time she would almost have 3,000. Outside the hospital, eldest brother Gu clapped Gu Chonglin on the shoulder. Do not lose heart, brother. We can gather the money for the surgery. Eldest aunt has considerable private savings, and so does your wife's side of the family. We can borrow some more from relatives. He turned towards Su Qingli. How much money do you have, little sister-in-law? 2,500 yuan, Su Qingli answered. What? How much? Eldest brother Gu thought he had misheard her. Gu Chonglin also lifted his head sharply and stared at her. I have 2,500 yuan, Su Qingli repeated. Eldest brother Gu was utterly shocked. Are you joking with us? Where did you get so much money? My maternal uncle sent it to me half a month ago. He said he wanted me to have a good new year. Eldest brother Gu drew in a sharp breath. Despite the serious situation, he almost wanted to ask whether his wife, giving uncle, was looking for another nephew. Chonglin, you can have your surgery now. You might be able to walk again. Eldest brother Gu's emotions swung wildly. Qingli has 2,500 yuan. Add our family savings and a little borrowed money, and we will reach 3,000. He then realized he ought not speak for Su Qingli without her consent. Little sister-in-law, we will treat your 2,500 as a loan to Chonglin. Once he recovers, he will earn the money back and repay you many times over. Su Qingli smiled gently. Eldest brother, you do not need to worry about that. Chonglin is my husband. He matters far more than money. If it helps him get well, I would gladly give away another 2,500. Those words struck Gu Chonglin deep inside his heart. He lifted his gaze towards Su Qingli. Sunlight wrapped around her like a glowing halo, as if she had stepped out of pure radiance. Eldest brother Gu grinned. His younger brother was truly blessed with an extraordinary wife. Let us head back to the guest house. On the way, eldest brother Gu asked, little sister-in-law, what do your parents do? How can your uncle send you 50 or 100 yuan regularly? He paused. Is your family exceptionally prominent and well off? He suspected he and his family had unexpectedly formed ties with a powerful, wealthy household. Su Qingli knew she could not keep her background a secret forever. My family is ordinary. Only my maternal uncle has some standing. She would use her far-away foreign-based uncle as her cover story. After hearing her explanation, eldest brother Gu said, little sister-in-law, you know medical skills. Could you work as a doctor? Su Qingli nodded. I plan to take the county hospital's recruitment examination once we return from the capital. If I pass, I can earn several tens of yuan every month. Brother Gu, sister-in-law, keep going. You'll definitely pass the exam. Gu Chonglin said nothing, just listened quietly to her talking. The passenger bus for the county was scheduled to leave at 11 o'clock. It was almost 10 now. The three of them went back to the guest house, quickly packed their luggage, and headed for the bus station. They bought their tickets and got on the bus. It was exactly 10:40. Now that they were heading back to the county, Brother Gu thought of Wu Chuanxia. I wonder whether Zhang Chang's wife has reported the incident to the police. Su Qingli smoothed her hair and let out a cold snort. Even if she reports me to the police, I'm not afraid. If she tries to extort money from me, I'll teach her a harsh lesson. Beside her, Gu Chonglin stared at his wife's fierce looking expression and blinked. He thought to himself that this young woman had quite another side to her. Still, dealing with wicked people called for such firm resolve. Hey, sister-in-law, don't say things like that. Brother Gu shuddered as he recalled the sight of her beating Wu Chuanxia the day before. This sister-in-law of his was really tough. At 11 o'clock, the bus departed on time. After 3 bumpy hours, they arrived in the county at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Once they got off the bus, they went straight to the hospital. The doctor recognized her at once. It's you. That patient left the same day. There is still quite a bit of your deposit left. I know. Su Qingli went to the payment counter to get the remaining money refunded. Before she left, the doctor said, that patient asked me to tell you she's filed a police report. Su Qingli replied, I see. Thank you for letting me know. The doctor waved his hand. Don't mention it. By the way, my name is Zhou Yang. You can come to me for consultations or prescriptions. Realizing this sounded a little inappropriate, he gave an awkward smile. Su Qingli said nothing more. She smiled politely and walked out. Brother Gu asked, did you get your money back? Yes, Su Qingli answered. She's gone to the police. I'm going to the police station to turn myself in. Are you two coming with me, or will you wait here at the hospital? Su Qingli looked toward the two men. Brother Gu frowned. Turn yourself in? You didn't commit murder or arson. Gu Chonglin said, we'll go with you. The county was small. The police station was not far from the hospital, only a 10-minute walk. As soon as the three walked in, a police officer asked, what can we do for you? Su Qingli said, officer, I've come to turn myself in. Turn yourself in? What have you done? The policeman was taken aback. I'm the one who got into a fight the other morning. I hit Wu Chuanxia. At her words, the officer understood. Oh, so you're the one who had the run-in with her. Come on in. He glanced behind her and guessed the man in the wheelchair must be her husband. Several officers who had handled Wu Chuanxia's report were on duty. They were quite surprised to see the person involved show up voluntarily. They called Su Qingli over for questioning. Meanwhile, the officer who had let them in poured a cup of hot water for Gu Chonglin. Comrade, where did you serve in the army? Thank you, officer. Gu Chonglin took the cup and told him where he had been stationed. The officer looked surprised. My cousin is also in Province Y. He only enlisted last year. The two officers looked at Su Qingli. We have the facts of the case. Wu Chuanxia made insulting remarks, which provoked you into fighting back. Wu Chuanxia is demanding compensation from you. Su Qingli lifted her head. How much does she want? 500 yuan. She's daydreaming. I won't pay her a cent. If I give in this time, her family will keep trying to squeeze money out of us. They already tried to extort 200 yuan from me once before, and I refused. I already paid her medical bills. What more am I supposed to pay for? Was she asking for compensation for mental distress or lost wages? There were no such provisions at this time. She had only struck her face, not her arms or legs. Besides, what work would there be in the middle of winter anyway? You have a point there, the two officers said. Why don't you try to work this out between yourselves? Truth be told, fights broke out constantly in the villages. If every petty quarrel had to be brought to the station, the police would never get any real work done. Su Qingli thought for a moment. I don't think we can resolve this on our own. Could you officers please come with me to her house? She will listen to you. And if you come, I'd like to treat you to a meal. I caught a wild pheasant gathering firewood a few days ago, and we haven't eaten it yet. The two officers raised their eyebrows. Su Qingli had a good point. Cases of people trying to extort money needed official intervention. Very well. We'll come along. Seizing the chance, Su Qingli said, Officers, can we ride along with you to show the way? All right, get in. When Su Qingli came back outside, Brother Gu hurried over. What happened? What did the police say? Su Qingli spoke earnestly. The officers think Wu Chuanxia's attempt to extort money is unacceptable. They are going to her home to give her a formal talking to. What? Brother Gu blurted out in surprise. Gu Chonglin smiled. Come on, brother. We're going with the police officers. Going with them? How? Gu Chonglin said, in the police car. Brother Gu ignored the word police and only registered car. Good gracious. In more than 30 years of life, he had never ridden in a motor vehicle before. The passenger bus seemed to protest. Am I not a vehicle? Let's go, the officers said as they drove the police car out of the station and waved them over. Coming, officers. The three climbed into the car. Su Qingli said, could we stop at the supply and marketing cooperative for a moment? I need to buy something. You certainly have quite a few errands, the officer in the front, passenger seat remarked. Su Qingli smiled. When they reached the cooperative, she went inside and bought a carton of cigarettes. She opened it, slipped most of the pack into her spatial storage, and kept 3 packs out. When she got back into the car, the other 4 were already chatting. The driver was Zhou Chunlai, and the man in the passenger seat was Yang Aimin. Su Qingli handed 3 packs of cigarettes to Brother Gu, who caught on right away. Officers, please have a smoke. He offered 1 pack to each man. They exchanged a glance and accepted them, realizing that was what she had gone to buy. Brother Gu kept the officers' company in conversation and pointed out the way. Su Qingli sat beside Gu Chonglin. Are you cold? There was no heater in the car. Gu Chonglin looked at her with soft eyes. I'm fine. The automobile traveled much faster than an ox cart. Half an hour later, they arrived at Qingshan Production Brigade. At the village entrance, they ran into Old Man Lu with his ox cart. He had waited for them the whole previous day. He had been about to head to the county again today. He was relieved to see them back and turned his cart around to go home. A police car rolling into the village alarmed the local cadres. Someone hurried to notify Secretary Li and the production team leader. People like Old Man Lu who knew what had happened guessed the police had come to sort out the trouble between Su Qingli and Wu Chuanxia. Secretary Li had been working in his yard when word arrived that the police were in the village. He asked what the matter was, but the messenger had no details. Just then, Old Man Lu passed by his gate and told him about the fight between Su Qingli and Wu Chuanxia. He added that they had returned in a police car. Secretary Li grabbed Old Man Lu's arm. Did they go to the Gu family's house? Yes, that's the direction they headed. Secretary Li rushed inside to change his clothes and hurried toward the Gu residence. What on earth had happened? How had they gotten mixed up in police business? Word also reached Wu Chuanxia. She snorted. See? The police are coming to give me justice. Her husband Zhang Chang asked, should we go over to Su Qingli's place? No need. The police will bring her here to pay me compensation, Wu Chuanxia said. Zhang Chang was doubtful. He suspected things would not go as his wife imagined, yet he said nothing. Looking at all the people filling the house, Su Qingli realized she would have to prepare quite a feast. There were Uncle Gu's family, the production, team leader, Secretary Li, and the 2 police officers. Uncle Gu and the others had no idea why the police were visiting. Brother Gu quickly brought them up to speed. Seeing that the Gu family had a lot of family matters to discuss, the 2 officers decided to step outside for a while. Secretary Li led them over to Wu Chuanxia's home. Chonglin, what's going on with you? As soon as the officers left, everyone crowded around. They stared at the wheelchair, asking whether his legs were injured and what harm he had suffered. Let me explain, Brother Gu spoke up. Aunt Gu gasped when she heard. The surgery would cost 3,000 yuan? Don't worry about the money. Qingli has it, Brother Gu reassured them. Everyone in the room was astonished. Qingli has that kind of money? Where would she get so much? Su Qingli said, my family sent it to me. She really did not want to keep repeating her half-true backstory. Fortunately, Brother Gu was helping her out. The three sisters-in-law of the Goof family exchanged glances. They had never imagined their new sister-in-law could be so well off. 2,500 yuan was a staggering sum. None of them even had 50 yuan to their names. Such a huge gap between people. No wonder Su Qingli spent money so freely. If they had that kind of money, they would spend freely too. Qingli, we should get cooking right away. We can't let the police officers go home on an empty stomach, Aunt Gu urged. Now that they knew Gu Chonglin could potentially recover with surgery, their grief eased. Hope made everything easier to bear. Right, I was just about to start, Su Qingli answered and got busy in the kitchen. Her three sisters-in-law came to help, while the rest stayed to talk with Gu Chonglin. Gu Chongxin was still at school. Little Gu Changwei hugged her elder brother's leg. Brother, are you hurt? Gu Chonglin stroked her head. Yes, I got hurt. The little girl had jet black hair tied into two little horn-shaped braids. Her big dark eyes sparkled, and she looked utterly adorable. When will you get better? Aunt Gu lifted her onto the heated brick bed. Be good, Chongwei. Big brother will get well soon. Then when you're better, you have to play with me. Of course I will, Aunt Gu soothed her. She pulled a handful of rock sugar from her pocket. Go share these with the other little girls. The rock sugar had been left for the children by Su Qingli before she left. In the kitchen, eldest sister-in-law Gu asked, how many dishes are you planning to make? They were formally entertaining the two police officers, but she expected Secretary Li and the production team leader would stay for the meal as well. Su Qingli nodded. At least 6 dishes. 6? What will you make? What ingredients do you have? Third sister-in-law Gu asked. Su Qingli told them to wait and went outside to bring in 2 wild pheasants and a pig heart. From the inner room, she fetched dried mushrooms, wood, ear fungus, and peanuts. We can stew chicken with mushrooms, fry pig heart with chili peppers, and make a cold mixed salad with wood, ear fungus, peanuts, and green onions. Then we'll have vinegar, braised Chinese cabbage, canned peaches as one dish, salted duck eggs on a plate, and kung pao chicken. Is that 6? That's 7, someone corrected. 7 it is, then, Su Qingli said. Her sisters-in-law approved the menu. There were only 2 stoves in the house, plus a small clay stove. Su Qingli set the chicken to simmer in a sandpot. She lit the main stove and stacked bricks beside its opening. She made a small auxiliary stove for boiling water for tea. She prepared all the ingredients. Eldest sister-in-law chopped vegetables, second sister-in-law tended the fire, Su Qingli did the stir-frying. And third sister-in-law set the tables. Thankfully, she had bought tableware, wine sets, teacups, and mutai liquor in the department store in the provincial capital. While cooking, she carried the new dishes, cups, and liquor over to the heated brick bed in the east room for easy access. Halfway through cooking, the 2 police officers returned, accompanied by Secretary Li. Zhou Chunlai spoke to Su Qingli. We have given Wu Chuanxia serious criticism and education. She says she will not cause trouble again. Su Qingli thanked them sincerely. Thank you so much for your trouble, officers. Still, you must not resort to fighting in the future, Zhou Chunlai reminded her. Su Qingli shook her head. I won't. I hardly ever fight unless someone pushes me too far. The food will be ready very soon. Please go inside and take a seat. After Zhou Chunlai went into the main room, second sister-in-law whispered, Sister-in-law, you were really bold to stand up to Wu Chuanxia like that. Su Qingli blinked. She had it coming. Inside the east room, 4 dishes were already laid out, a plate of peanuts, a bowl of canned peaches, the cold wood, ear, and peanut salad, and salted duck eggs. Mutai liquor sat ready for drinking. Soon, fried pig heart with dried chili peppers was brought out, followed by kung pao chicken, which contained more green onions and peanuts than chicken meat, and vinegar, braised cabbage. Brother Gu invited everyone to sit, Secretary Li, the production team leader, Uncle Gu, Brother Gu, and Gu Chonglin. Secretary Li and the team leader were there mainly to keep the police officers company. The pot stewed chicken was the final dish. The 2 officers exchanged looks. The young woman had not lied. She really did have wild pheasant meat. They could see clearly that Su Qingli had partly wanted a ride home in the police car, and resolving the conflict with Wu Chuanxia had been secondary. Conversation at the table turned to Gu Changlin's upcoming surgery. Zhou Chunlai said, if you intend to seek treatment in the capital, I happen to know a specialist. His name is Wang Gui. Last year, my maternal second uncle had a similar condition to Chonglin's. Dr. Wang performed his operation. Now my uncle can walk with crutches. In another year or so, He may be able to walk without support. Brother Gu and Uncle Gu expressed their deep gratitude. Thank you so much, Officer Zhou. We were at a loss about finding a good doctor. Doctors in the provincial capital told us we should go to experts in the capital. People like us have never traveled farther than the provincial city. We have no connections there. Zhou Chunlai waved off their thanks. He works at Xiehe Hospital in the capital. You can go directly there to look for him. Hearing this, Su Qingli decided to make one extra dish, fried sweet cakes. Goodness, sister-in-law, why are you pouring so much oil? Eldest sister-in-law asked. I'm making fried sweet cakes for the guests. That's more than enough food already, Qingli. Counting canned fruit and peanuts, we have 9 dishes, third sister-in-law said. One of the officers just gave us the name of a top expert, Su Qingli explained. Eldest sister-in-law nodded. Then go ahead and make them. A plate of golden fried cakes came out. 3 were left over, which Su Qingli gave to her 3 sisters-in-law to eat. Sisters-in-law, thank you for all your hard work today. There is plenty of food. Take some home with you later. They waved their hands. It was nothing. We only helped a little with cooking. Although they were not blood-related, Su Qingli genuinely thought her brothers and sisters-in-law in the Gu family were decent people. When trouble arose, they offered real help, not empty words. She carried the plate of fried cakes into the main room. The 2 officers praised her. Sister-in-law, you are an excellent cook. They had gone from calling her comrade to sister-in-law. Su Qingli smiled politely. I hope the food suits your taste. It absolutely does, Zhou Chunlai said, slightly tipsy. Where are you originally from, sister-in-law? Sichuan province. No wonder all your dishes are spicy, he said understandingly. How did you end up here? Are you a sent-down-educated youth? Yes, I am. That's very good, Zhou Chunlai commented. Su Qingli felt confused but said nothing. She told them to enjoy their meal and stepped back out to the kitchen. Eldest sister-in-law asked her, what staple food should we serve? Rice? Su Qingli shook her head. Boil dumplings. I have frozen ones ready. She fetched a sack of frozen dumplings from the backyard. Eldest sister-in-law was amazed by the quantity. I made them some time ago, Su Qingli said. How many should we cook? Cook all of them. Serve several plates to the guests, and the rest we can eat ourselves. The children must be hungry. Gu Chongxin had gotten home from school an hour earlier. After talking with his elder brother, he came out to lend a hand. Seeing so many dumplings go into the pot pained him. His own family could have eaten that amount for a whole week. 4 large plates of hot dumplings went into the main room. The rest were kept for the household. Second brother Gu and third brother Gu had gone home before the meal started. Su Qingli said, Chongxin, go fetch second brother, third brother, and their children to come eat. Her sisters-in-law said, don't bother. They have already eaten at home. Su Qingli laughed. But all of you are here. Who would cook for them back home? The grain cabinets at their houses were locked, and Aunt Gu and eldest sister-in-law kept the keys. Call them over. There are more than enough dumplings for everyone. She called Aunt Gu over too. Aunt, come and eat in the east room. The small house quickly filled with more than a dozen people. Everyone ate heartily. There were sour cabbage and lard dumplings, Chinese cabbage and pork dumplings, vinegar, braised cabbage, cold mixed salad, and chicken soup. Everyone thoroughly enjoyed the abundant meal. At 5 o'clock, the 2 police officers prepared to leave. Before departing, they told the Gu family they could come to them for help if trouble arose again. Clearly, the meal had left them satisfied. Secretary Li and the production team leader also took their leave. Having eaten for free, they wanted to show goodwill. Secretary Li told Su Qingli, child, if anything happens at home in the future, you can always come find me. The production team leader added, Qingli, when you start working in the fields next year, I can assign you lighter work that still earns 10 work points a day. Remembering what his wife had told him about Su Qingli's medical knowledge, he went on. You could also serve as the village barefoot doctor. That also earns work points. Su Qingli thanked both of them sincerely. Her sisters-in-law helped her clean up before heading back to their own homes. Wait a moment, Su Qingli quickly wiped her hands. She carried a large parcel out from the east room and took out milk powder and White Rabbit creamy candy. I bought 4 sets. Each of you sisters-in-law gets one for your family, and this set is for Uncle and Aunt Gu. She then handed the purchased fabric to Aunt Gu. And this cloth is for you and Uncle to make new clothes. No. Why give these to us? You should keep them for Changwei and Chongxin. Make clothes for Changlin instead. The sisters-in-law and Aunt Gu refused to accept them. Su Qingli said, Aunt, sisters-in-law, these are specially bought for you. Think of them as early New Year gifts. Please take them. Don't worry. Changwei and Chongxin will have plenty of milk powder to drink. Eldest sister-in-law Gu said, Child, you shouldn't spend so much money on us. Su Qingli waved her hand to show it was no trouble. The elder brothers had been chatting with Gu Chonglin in the west room. When they came out, they saw their wives holding several bags of things and asked what had happened. They soon learned their fourth sister-in-law had given them the gifts. All of them thought their fourth sister-in-law was really thoughtful and knew exactly how to get along with people. Back in their room, eldest brother Gu pulled something out of his pocket mysteriously and showed it to his wife. Look. What is it? Eldest sister-in-law Gu leaned closer under the oil lamp for a better look. It was vanishing cream. She was both surprised and delighted. Husband, did you buy this for me? I don't have that kind of money. Qingli asked me to pass it on to you. She only gave this to you, not the other two sisters-in-law. Hide it when you use it. Eldest sister-in-law Gu nodded with a smile. I understand. Please thank Qingli for me. Over at second brother Gu's house, second sister-in-law Gu opened the milk powder and brewed 3 cups. She breathed in the rich aroma. It smells wonderful just like this. Make yourself a cup too, said second brother Gu. Second sister-in-law Gu shook her head. This is for children. I'm an adult, I don't need it. She gave the 3 cups to the kids. Though still hot, they blew on the milk and drank it. Chu Yi and Shiwu took a sip and sighed, so this is what little uncle drinks every day. It's so tasty. Little Gu said, Mother, Father, the milk powder is delicious. Drink up, second brother Gu stroked his daughter's head. At third brother Gu's place, he also made a cup of milk powder for little Gu Tingting. The little girl held the cup and drank happily. Suddenly she thought of her parents and held the cup out toward them. Mother, Father, have a sip, then I'll drink some more. Third brother Gu pretended he did not like the taste. Tingting, drink it. Father doesn't care for milk powder. Third sister-in-law Gu said the same thing, claiming she did not like it either. Uncle Gu and Aunt Gu had no such reservations. Aunt Gu brewed 2 large cups. Qingli showed us respect with this. We will drink the milk powder ourselves and give the candy to the children. Uncle Gu had no objection. After drinking the milk powder, once they were lying on the heated Kong, Aunt Gu said, I used to complain that Qingli spends money too freely. Now I realize I spoke out of turn. Does Qingli really spend too much? She had several thousand yuan, so these expenses were nothing. Thinking about money reminded Aunt Gu of Gu Chenglin's surgery. Old man, the surgery costs 3,000 yuan. Qingli is still short of some money. I have 200 yuan. I wonder if that will be enough added to hers. Uncle Gu thought for a moment. Qingli probably won't borrow money from us. Will she write home to ask for funds? Most likely. 100 or 200 yuan from us won't make much difference. It was the truth. Without Qingli's 2,500 yuan, relying only on what the family earned, Gu Chonglin would never get his surgery. When everyone left, the house finally turned quiet. Su Qingli looked at the neat, tidy rooms and let out a long breath. To be honest, she disliked crowds. A house full of noisy people wore her out. Water began to boil on the clay stove. Su Qingli poured hot water into the thermos. She left a little hot water in the kettle, poured it into the wash basin, and mixed in cold water until the temperature was just right. Carrying the basin, she walked into the west room, where Gu Chonglin was talking to his younger brother and sister. Chonglin, wash your face. She set the basin on a stool and handed him a towel. Thank you, Gu Chonglin took the towel. In 1 month, he had gone from a fully healthy, able-bodied man to someone who needed help for everything. Even after a whole month in this condition, he still could not get used to it. When he finished washing his face, Su Qingli handed him a toothbrush with toothpaste already squeezed onto it and a cup of water. After washing up, Su Qingli carried the basin away, poured out the dirty water, and brought back another basin of warm, clean water. Soak your feet. Gu Chonglin nodded. Su Qingli helped him take off his shoes and socks and gently placed his feet in the water. She squeezed his calf and looked up. Can you feel anything at all? Gu Chonglin shook his head. Su Qingli lowered her voice. It will be fine. After the new year, we will go to the capital to see specialists and have the surgery. You will get better. System, what is wrong with me? Why do I feel like crying and so upset again? Su Qingli wondered. She was usually calm. But every time she saw Gu Changlin in this state, sadness welled up inside her. It should not be like this. Sigh. Host, you are far too empathetic. The system sighed. Empathetic? She knew what that word meant. But in her past life, she had seen many patients like him and had never felt this distraught. Normally, she only felt deep sorrow seeing children or small animals being mistreated. She seldom reacted so strongly to adult suffering. Gu Changlin is no ordinary person. Didn't you say he is your husband? Su Qingli, he is my husband from Building 33. The system's interruption lightened her mood. Qingli, I have put you through so much trouble. Gu Changlin did not know what else to say. Surgery carried risks, and he could not make her any promises right now. It is hardly trouble just fetching some water, Su Qingli smiled. She turned to Gu Changsan. Go wash your face and brush your teeth. Aren't you going to bed? Right away, Gu Changsan hurried out of the room. Gu Changlin watched the scene, his eyes soft. Then he remembered something. Qingli, where did you put my luggage? Luggage? Su Qingli had stored it in the east room. It is in the east room. I will get it for you. Is this it? She brought over a cloth handbag. Gu Changlin nodded, took the bag, and pulled out 2 printed dresses, 2 jars of vanishing cream, and a pair of small black leather shoes. He handed them to Su Qingli. I bought these when I was on leave this summer. I planned to give them to you myself when I came home for the new year. Now I get to give them to you in person after all. Su Qingli took the dresses and smiled. Thank you. I like them very much. These are for Changsan. Gu Changlin took out a pencil, box, an army, green canvas school bag, a Hero brand fountain pen, and a pair of white canvas shoes. Thank you, big brother, said Gu Changsan. Next Gu Changlin pulled out 2 red hair clips, 2 small floral print dresses, a pair of pink plastic sandals, and 2 packs of white rabbit creamy candy. These are for our little Changwei. Wow! Dresses, hair clips, and such pretty shoes. Little Changwei loved her gifts. She held them and stared happily, then threw her arms around Gu Changlin and gave him a loud kiss on the cheek. Children showed their affection so openly. Su Qingli watched with soft eyes. If Gu Changlin had not been injured, their happiness would have been so much greater. Qingli, please take these 2 bolts of cloth over to Uncle and Aunt tomorrow, Gu Changlin said. One was dark navy blue, the other white with small floral prints. All right. Qingli, keep these safe. Gu Changlin took out a roll of cash and a stack of ration tickets from the bag. Su Qingli glanced through them. There was more than 600 yuan, along with grain tickets, cloth tickets, coal tickets, meat tickets, bicycle tickets, and many other kinds of ration coupons in substantial quantities. I should not have received so much. My superior pulled strings on my behalf, Gu Changlin explained. Su Qingli nodded. Her grandfather had been a veteran. Back in the 1970s, soldiers killed in service only received about 600 yuan in compensation. Disabled soldiers got benefits graded according to injury, usually no more than 1 or 200 yuan. Later new state policies gave veterans monthly subsidies deposited directly into bank accounts. The children were absolutely delighted with their presents and kept looking them over. Su Qingli laughed. All right now, put your new clothes and shoes away. Save them for summer. Sister-in-law, please store my school bag, pencil, box, and fountain pen too. I want to save them until I start junior high school in the county town next year, Gu Changsan said. He did not want to use such nice supplies for village school. Fountain pens were not even needed there. Very well. I will lock them safely in the cabinet for you. Keep them in your cabinet, sister-in-law. Your cabinet smells nice, Gu Changsan said. He had no idea what made her wardrobe smell so good. Sure, I will put them in my cabinet. The pleasant scent came from vanishing cream and stored apples and pears. After putting everything away, Su Qingli helped little Changwei wash up and dabbed vanishing cream on her face. Changsan, come put some cream on too. Gu Changsan came over, scooped up a little cream, and rubbed it on his face. Su Qingli turned to Gu Changlin. You should use some as well. Gu Changlin shook his head. I do not need it. Men don't use face cream. Su Qingli shrugged. Suit yourself. Then she scooped a small amount and spread it over his cheeks. The air here is dry. Your skin will crack without moisturizer. Use it. Big brother, let me help you. Gu Changsan, who had just finished putting cream on his own face, offered. Gu Changlin said it was fine. I can do it myself. Once he finished, Su Qingli took out lip balm and protective ointment. Use this on your lips, hands, and feet. Winter weather easily chapped hands and feet. Without proper care, heels would grow thick rough skin and crack open. All 4 finished washing up. Su Qingli filled a hot water bag and tucked it under the quilt. Since Gu Changlin was home, little Changwei would sleep with Su Qingli in the east room. Gu Changlin shared the west room with Gu Changsen. Gu Changlin recognized the quilt and mattress set as the new bedding from their wedding. The old quilts were not warm enough, Gu Changsen told him. Afraid we would freeze, sister-in-law gave us these new ones. And she put a hot water bag for me too, Gu Changlin said. She gave you one as well. Sister-in-law treats everyone equally, Gu Changsen mumbled. Sleep now. You have an exam tomorrow, remember? Right. You rest early too, big brother. Call me if you need anything during the night. Exhausted from the past 2 busy days, Su Qingli slept soundly through the night. She woke at 6 o'clock the next morning. Little Changwei was still fast asleep. Su Qingli dressed quietly, peeked into the west room to find the boys still asleep, closed the door, and started preparing breakfast. Today she would make steamed glutinous rice cakes and egg and lean meat congee. She set the congee simmering in a clay pot and prepared the batter for the rice cakes. The dough had been left to rise overnight on the heated kang and had fermented perfectly. By 6:30, Gu Changsen and Gu Changlin were awake. Breakfast was ready. Su Qingli woke little Changwei in the inner room and washed and combed her hair. Seeing the spread on the table, Gu Changlin understood just how well the children ate. There were soft, sweet, fluffy glutinous rice cakes, rich egg, and meat congee, 1 fried egg for each person, and a cup of milk powder for everyone. For Gu Changlin, however, Su Qingli had prepared malted milk drink to help him regain his strength. The food was even better than army camp meals. No wonder his younger siblings looked so healthy and well nourished. Changsen, you have an exam today, right? Su Qingli asked. Gu Changsen nodded. Yes, sister-in-law. School breaks for holiday right after the exam? That is right. Why do you ask? Nothing, just curious. Let's eat, Su Qingli replied. Secretly she looked forward to the holiday, so she would no longer need to get up quite so early to cook. After breakfast and tidying the house, Su Qingli took the 2 bolts of cloth Gu Changlin had bought and walked over to Uncle Gu's house. She handed the fabric to Aunt Gu. We already received cloth from you yesterday. Keep these for yourselves to make clothes, Aunt Gu refused. Aunt Changlin bought these especially for you and Uncle, as a gift from him. Please accept them. No, I cannot take them. After much persuasion, Aunt Gu finally took the cloth and locked it safely in her cabinet. Then she turned to Su Qingli. Qingli, are you still short of money for Changlin's surgery? I have 200 yuan you can use. She held out a roll of banknotes, but Su Qingli pushed her hand away. Aunt, the army sent compensation funds for Changlin. We already have the full 3,000 yuan. Really? What a relief. I was worried we might need to borrow money from others, Aunt Gu sighed. Changlin's surgery simply had to happen. No one wanted to spend their life in a wheelchair if they could stand again. As they chatted, eldest sister-in-law Gu walked in. After exchanging a few words, she pulled out 5 10-yuan notes. Qingli, take this money. If it is not enough, we can collect more. Eldest sister-in-law Gu was Aunt Gu's niece by birth. Marrying eldest brother Gu made their bond even closer. Her natal family was comparatively well off in the village. Both she and her husband worked at the commune, and her father was the village production team leader. Her parents often slipped her small sums of money during visits. Bit by bit, the young couple had saved roughly 50 to 60 yuan. After what eldest brother Gu had told her the previous day, and remembering the vanishing cream Su Qingli had given her, she wanted to offer whatever financial help she could. She would not mind even if the money was never repaid. Still, she believed Su Qingli could pay it back. Besides money sent by her own family, eldest brother Gu had mentioned their 4th sister-in-law new medical skills and planned to take the entrance exam for county hospital positions. If she became a doctor there, she would earn a steady monthly salary of dozens of yuan and would certainly be able to repay the loan. Thank you, sister-in-law, Su Qingli said, returning the money to her, but we already have enough. Funds from Changlin's military benefits covered the 3,000 yuan cost. Eldest sister-in-law Gu brightened. Wonderful news. So 4th brother can go to the capital for surgery after New Year. Su Qingli smiled and nodded. That is our plan. We will also need eldest brother to travel with us. You will have to manage things at home without him for a few days. Hearing the last remark made eldest sister-in-law Gu want to playfully hit her. What nonsense are you saying, girl? We are hardly newlyweds anymore. Su Qingli giggled. Take him along by all means. As his elder brother, it is only right he accompanies Changlin. Su Qingli stayed a short while longer before heading home. Two people were still waiting for her there. It was only 8 o'clock, still hours before noon. Su Qingli decided to knit the sweater she was making for Gu Chonglin. Little Changwei amused herself playing on the heated Kong. Gu Chonglin sat beside Su Qingli, watching her knit. Having someone stare motionlessly beside her made Su Qingli self-conscious. She messed up several stitches. She lifted her head and their eyes met. They held each other's gaze for 2 seconds. Gu Chonglin coughed lightly and looked away. If one looked closely, the tips of his ears were faintly pink. Author's note, sitting close to his pretty wife, it was only natural for young Gu Chonglin to keep glancing over. Su Qingli did not notice his slight fluster and asked, "Chonglin, do you enjoy reading?" Gu Chonglin blinked in surprise. "Reading? I do not mind it." In truth, he was only moderately interested. He had left school after junior high. "Good. Someday I will pick up some books for you from the county town. Then you will not be bored just watching me knit," Su Qingli smiled. Gu Chonglin touched the tip of his nose and agreed. "Do you like this color?" Su Qingli asked. "The sweater?" Gu Chonglin asked. "Yes, it is for you." Gu Chonglin's eyes lit up. "I like it." The sweater was not a single solid color, but a mixed pattern of green, white, and black. Originally, Su Qingli had intended to knit a plain-colored garment, but a sudden flash of inspiration made her try the multicolor design. "Where did you get this wool yarn?" Gu Chonglin picked up one of the balls of yarn. "My uncle sent it to me from Haishur," Su Qingli replied. In fact, the high-quality wool yarn had come from the system. "It feels softer than yarn I have felt before," Gu Chonglin observed. "Yes. It will keep you very warm once finished." "Su Qingli, is there something on my face? Why does he keep staring at me?" "Gu Chonglin, my wife has such long eyelashes and fair skin. She is so beautiful." Su Qingli knitted on until nearly 11 o'clock. It was time to start cooking lunch again. Previously, it was just her and Gu Chongwei. They would get by with cooking some noodles or having a couple of pastries for a meal. But now that the villainous eldest brother was back, they could no longer make do with simple food. Su Qingli thought for a moment and decided to make braised rice with potatoes and cured sausages. These were Cantonese-style cured sausages, the ones she had bought in her previous life for making braised rice, with 2 left over. She diced potatoes and carrots, sliced the cured sausages, soaked dried shiitake mushrooms and diced them. It was a pity there were no corn kernels. The flavor would have been richer with them. Still, there was no electric rice cooker for this braised rice. She had to cook the rice first, blanch and cook the vegetables thoroughly, then mix them with the rice, add seasonings, and let everything simmer. It turned out really tasty. Gu Chonglin ate 2 bowls, and little Gu Chongwei finished a full bowl too. After eating, the little girl said, "Sister-in-law, it's so good." Su Qingli gently pinched her tiny nose. "If you like it, I'll make it for you again later." "Okay." The little girl had her hair styled into 3 little buns, one on top of her head and one on each side, just like Maka Paka from In the Night Garden. Whether human or animal, little ones were always the cutest. Su Qingli suddenly remembered she had bought 2 red hair flowers for little Gu Changwei at the department store in the provincial capital. She had also gotten a set of autumn thermal underwear and socks for Gu Chonglin, and had completely forgotten about them. Su Qingli went back into the room. She had been so busy the day before that she had only taken out a few needed items and stowed the rest in the cabinet, and had not thought of them that morning. She carried the parcel over to the west room. "I was so busy yesterday I completely forgot about these things I bought." Gu Chonglin wheeled his wheelchair over. "What did you get?" Little Gu Changwei squatted on the kang, curious to see what her sister-in-law had purchased. "So many things. I got you a set of autumn thermal underwear and socks," she said, taking out the clothes and holding them up for Gu Chonglin to see. "And these hair flowers for our Chongwei." The hair flowers resembled those from the 1980s, except that back then they came ready-made with elastic cords. These were just ribbons woven with shiny red threads. Su Qingli was not sure what material they were. "So pretty, sister-in-law," little Gu Chongwei said. Su Qingli said, "Shall we save them to wear for the new year?" "Okay. Such a good girl." "Changwei, do you like candied hawthorns? I can make some for you this afternoon." Su Qingli brought out the 5 jean of hawthorns she had bought. Gu Changwei looked confused. "Sister-in-law, are candied hawthorns tasty?" "I've never had any." Gu Chonglin stroked his little sister's hair. "They are sour and sweet." "Then I want some," Gu Chongwei declared. After sorting out the parcels, Su Qingli put aside her knitting and set about boiling sugar for candied hawthorns. She did not need a big pot. A small iron pot set over the clay stove would do. First, she wiped each hawthorn clean and removed the seeds. She wiped the hawthorns while Gu Chonglin took out the seeds. Working together, they finished quickly. Then they threaded the fruit onto bamboo skewers, boiled the sugar, dipped the skewers in the syrup, and set them aside to cool. Done. Try one. Su Qingli handed Gu Chonglin a skewer. Little Gu Changwei had already picked one up and was eating it. It's delicious, sister-in-law. Children loved sweets, and Gu Changyue's eyes crinkled with joy as she ate. Very good, Gu Chonglin agreed. Su Qingli only ate two before stopping. There were still plenty of hawthorns left to dip in sugar. Once cooled, the candied hawthorns were wrapped in craft paper and stored outside. Su Qingli told Gu Changwei she could not eat too many, only one a day. The little girl promised solemnly that she would not sneak extra ones. After cleaning up the cookware, Su Qingli said to Gu Chonglin, "I'm going over to Uncle Gu's house. I'll take them some to try." Gu Chonglin nodded. Su Qingli took 15 skewers of candied hawthorns, one for each of the 15 people in Uncle Gu's household. Each skewer held 10 hawthorn berries. "You should keep these for yourselves. Why bring them to us?" Aunt Gu chided her. "I wanted you all to have a taste," Su Qingli replied. Once Su Qingli had left, third sister-in-law Gu remarked, "Our fourth sister-in-law sure knows how to enjoy food. She keeps coming up with nice things for Changwei and Chongsen. Making candied hawthorns must take at least 1 gene of sugar." She was really willing to spend. But then she remembered Su Qingli had 2,500 yuan and said no more. Aunt Gu shot a glance at her daughters-in-law. Qingli and Chonglin always think of the rest of us whenever they have something good to share. The cloth they brought this morning is enough to make a new garment for every one of our 15 family members. Chonglin is injured and cannot walk right now. As his older brothers and sisters-in-law, we ought to give them more help. Eldest brother Gu and eldest sister-in-law Gu spoke up. "Mother, we know that, no need to remind us." The other two couples agreed as well. "All right, 1 candied hawthorn skewer for each person," Aunt Gu said as she passed them around. Uncle Gu and Aunt Gu were nearly 60, but still had all their teeth and could bite into the candied hawthorns with ease. The treat was sweet and sour, and every seed had been removed. "Qingli went to so much trouble to take out all the seeds," Aunt Gu murmured. "That girl is thoughtful," Uncle Gu said. Aunt Gu wondered aloud, "Do you suppose Qingli will have to work in the fields next year?" "Oh wait, eldest son told me she wants to sit the exam to become a doctor at the county hospital. I wonder if she will pass." She was already worrying about events for the following year. Qingli was outstanding. None of the village wives, nor even the educated youth, could compare to her. She hoped Qingli would succeed. Working at a hospital was far better than toiling in the fields. If she had to work farmland, her fair cheeks would quickly get sunburnt. Uncle Gu looked up. There is an old saying, "The one who worries is more anxious than the person concerned." Aunt Gu glared at him. "Quit showing off your half-baked knowledge." It annoyed her. Some ancestor in their family, a great-grandfather or great-great-grandfather, had supposedly been a scholar. A few old books had been passed down. Uncle Gu had studied for a few years, could read, and would throw in idioms from those books whenever he got the chance. Uncle Gu fell silent and concentrated on eating his candied hawthorn. He still thought he had made a fair point. The girl herself was not worried, yet his wife fretted over something that would not happen until next year. Back home, Su Qingli knitted for a while before starting dinner. Winter brought early sunsets, so she wanted to get the meal ready before dark. Cooking by dim lamplight was inconvenient. She fetched the frozen mutton stored in the outdoor vat and said to Gu Chonglin, "I saved this mutton especially for you." Gu Chonglin looked surprised. "Where did you manage to get mutton?" Su Qingli smiled mysteriously. "I have my connections." "What connections?" "Hee. I traded a bar of soap to make a friend who works at the supply and marketing cooperative." Gu Chonglin shook his head and laughed. "Quite a useful connection you've got." "Sure it is," Su Qingli said. "In the big vat out back, there are also pork trotters, pork intestines, and more. I will prepare them in a few days." "Do you like braised pork trotters?" she added quickly. "Don't just say whatever is fine." Gu Chonglin had been about to reply that anything would do, but he changed his answer at once. "I like them. I really like braised pork trotters." Su Qingli was satisfied. In truth, Gu Chonglin had never eaten braised pork trotters and had no idea what they tasted like. "Just wait. I will make them for you soon. They taste amazing." "All right," Gu Chonglin answered. "How about grilled meat? Would you like that?" "I have an iron plate. Someday we can grill meat." "In summer we could grill vegetables too," Su Qingli chattered on. She would stew the mutton with white radishes and serve steamed raised bread, the kind used for meat-stuffed buns. Su Qingli cooked in the kitchen while Gu Chonglin chatted with her and added firewood to the stove. He thought that if his legs still worked, he would be the one kneeling by the stove tending the fire. It's cold in the kitchen. Su Qingli draped a blanket over him. Gu Chonglin shook his head. I'm fine, not cold. He could not feel any sensation in his lower limbs anyway. Dinner was just ready when Gu Chongsun came home from school. Su Qingli teased him for arriving exactly at mealtime. Sister-in-law, are you stewing mutton? Gu Chongsun had a sharp nose and caught the scent the moment he stepped inside. Yes, mutton stew with radishes. Go wash your hands. There were no guests, so Su Qingli carried the clay casserole straight to the table. She also sliced open 3 salted duck eggs, a favorite of both Gu Chongsun and herself. Let's eat. The radish mutton stew contained chunks of mutton and lamb chops. Su Qingli sprinkled a few goji berries on top before serving, making the dish look much nicer. Eat more meat to build up your strength. Su Qingli placed 2 lamb chops onto Gu Chonglin's bowl. He moved one over into her bowl. You eat too. Watching this, Gu Chongsun sighed playfully. No one is putting meat in my bowl. Sister-in-law gave me 2 pieces. Brother, help yourself, little Gu Changwei piped in a childish voice. Su Qingli laughed and served him some food. By the way, how did your exam go? Thank you, sister-in-law. Gu Chongsun grinned. I came first. So confident? You must have done really well. I remembered everything the teacher taught us, Gu Chongsun replied while chewing lamb chops. Su Qingli nodded. Doing the mental math, in autumn of 1974, the next year, her brother-in-law would enter junior middle school. 2 years of junior high would take him to 1976, and 2 more years of senior high to 1978. The college entrance examination would resume in 1977, just 1 year too early for him. She wondered whether he ought to skip grades. She decided to think about it next year. He should at least finish 5th grade first. I am going into the county town tomorrow to buy New Year goods, Su Qingli told the family. They needed more coal. She also planned to get some beef, along with peanuts, sunflower seeds, fruit candy, and other festive supplies. She also had to pick out gifts for visiting relatives. Preparing for the Lunar New Year. Most importantly, she wanted to find books for Gu Chonglin. Being stuck in the house unable to get about would surely bore him. Sister-in-law, don't worry. I will look after everything at home, Gu Chongsun said. Good. Take care of the house, Su Qingli smiled. The next day, Su Qingli got up at 5:30 and made breakfast, steamed buns served with meat paste to spread inside. Gu Chonglin was already awake. Dress warmly. It's freezing outside. I know. She put on a thin cotton jacket, then a thick overcoat on top, and pulled on her hat, scarf, and gloves. She fetched a flashlight. It was still pitch black outside at 6 o'clock, and she could not see the path without light. I'm leaving. Qingli, should I wheel you over to Uncle Lu's place? Gu Chonglin was worried about a young woman traveling alone in the dark. No need. Don't worry about me. Nobody dares to mess with me. If anyone tries anything, I will knock their heads in, Su Qingli said, shaking her fist. Gu Chonglin supposed his wife really was strong and quite fearless. Stay safe on the road. I'm off. After Su Qingli left, Gu Chonglin squeezed his useless legs, then wheeled his wheelchair back inside. Su Qingli walked along the quiet road with her flashlight. She was a little scared, half afraid she might turn around and see a ghost. With me here, why fear ghosts? The system spoke suddenly. Hearing the system calmed her. Right, she had a system. What was there to be afraid of? Holding her head high, she made her way to Uncle Lu's house, where the ox-drawn cart waited. Uncle Lu was already up. Inside the house were Aunt Hohot and 2 young male, educated youths from the Educated Youth Compound. Once everyone was assembled, they set off. The bumpy ride took 2 hours. Su Qingli thought that after returning from the capital, she must get herself a bicycle. Ox carts were far too slow. Qingli, did you get into a fight with Wu Chuanxia? Aunt Hohot asked, full of gossip. Yes, Su Qingli answered. Everyone in the village already knew about it. I heard you pushed her to the ground and slapped her so many times her face swelled up like a steamed bun, Aunt Hohot pressed. She deserved it, Su Qingli said. She certainly did. That woman has a vicious tongue. I heard she demanded 500 yuan compensation from you. You didn't pay her, I hope. The police came to her house and reprimanded her for insulting a serviceman and trying to extort money. Not 500. I wouldn't give her even 5 yuan, unless she wanted another beating, Su Qingli said coldly. Aunt Hohot clicked her tongue. You are quite a fierce young lady. How else am I supposed to cope? By the way, are you heading to the capital after New Year? Yes. We want to go early for treatment. They chatted casually all the way until they reached the county town. With the new year approaching, the supply and marketing cooperative was crowded. Su Qingli used her strength to push through the throng and get inside. Qingli, you're here, Zhou Lily greeted her. Su Qingli nodded. Keep working, I'll look around by myself. Many new goods had arrived, mandarin oranges, dried persimmons, and her favorite nangua pears. In the end, she bought 5 jin of dried persimmons, 10 jin of mandarin oranges, 10 jin of nangua pears, 2 jin of jujube paste pastries, 2 jin of long white cakes, 10 jin of walnut-filled biscuits, 2 jin of mung bean cakes, 2 jin of rice crackers, 2 jin of peach shortbread, 4 jin of egg cakes, 6 tins of yellow peach canned fruit, 5 jin of sunflower seeds, and 5 jin of shelled peanuts. She also picked up 2 jin of fruit candy. They already had plenty of milk candy at home. She had nearly finished shopping, then remembered something: Spring Festival couplets and firecrackers. She would write the couplets herself, but she needed to buy firecrackers. Su Qingli asked Zhou Lily where to buy firecrackers in town and purchased some. Her New Year's shopping was basically complete. Stepping into a quiet corner, she stored all her purchases into her spatial storage. Carrying so many parcels would be awkward for her trip to the Waste Goods Depot. The Waste Goods Depot stood in the western part of the county. Most depots were guarded by old men, but this one had a young man on duty. Su Qingli greeted him and went inside to browse, mainly for books: junior and senior high textbooks, storybooks, agricultural guides, and history volumes. She stowed most of them in her space, only taking 2 out to be seen. With her groceries and books obtained, it was time to head home. Another bumpy 2-hour ride brought them back to the village at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Halfway back, she took coal, 4 jin of beef, 2 jin of beef brisket, 2 jin of beef chest meat, and 2 chickens out from her space. Look at all you've bought. Once inside the house, she set the goods down on the kang. The 3 Gu siblings stared in amazement. Su Qingli warmed herself for a moment before sorting everything out. The walnut-filled biscuits and canned fruit are gifts for relatives during New Year visits. The rest are for us to enjoy over the holiday. Try these dried persimmons. She handed 1 to each person. She loved dried persimmons, though some left an unpleasant astringent taste in the mouth. Delicious, sister-in-law, Changwei and Chongsun said. Gu Chonglin nodded too. Very nice flavor. Su Qingli gave each of them 1 mandarin orange and 2 nangua pears. I have locked the rest away for New Year. She also passed round a piece of pastry for each, locking the remainder up to save for the festival. Changwei, leave your orange and pear on the kang to warm up before eating. Otherwise you will get a stomach ache. Children had delicate stomachs. Cold fruit was fine in summer, but risky in winter. Changwei, give them to me, Gu Chonglin said. The little girl obeyed and handed over her fruit, and Gu Chonglin set them on the kang to warm. Sister-in-law, you bought a chicken. What kind of meat is this? Beef. Beef? Did you go to that city again? Su Qingli did not deny it. Gu Chonglin caught on. What city? The black market, Gu Chongsun said. Gu Chonglin thought his wife was far too bold. At least she only bought things there instead of selling, yet it was still dangerous. Try not to go there in future, Qingli. I know. What should we have for dinner? Sister-in-law, can we have that grilled meat you told us about? Gu Changsun was craving it, tempted by her vivid descriptions. Grilled meat? Su Qingli asked. Gu Changsun nodded. Yes. You said you would make it once eldest brother was back home. Sister-in-law, I want grilled meat too. Changwei clung to her arm and begged. Very well. We will have grilled meat tonight, but we need to start early. She set the brisket aside for stewing later. The fatty, lean beef chest slices were perfect for grilling, along with lamb chops and pork streaky bacon. For vegetables, they would use potatoes and Chinese cabbage. Grilled meat alone would not fill them up. We need staple food. Shall we have rice? That braised rice you made the other day was wonderful, Gu Chonglin said. Braised rice it is, Su Qingli agreed. A good dipping sauce was essential. She mixed crushed peach shortbread, chili powder, cumin, and salt together and tasted it. The flavor worked well. She prepared the braised rice first, then got ready for grilling. An iron plate sat atop the clay stove. She added lard, then laid down slices of pork, beef, and mutton. Over the flames, the meat sizzled on the iron plate, and rich, savory aromas filled the air, making everyone's mouths water. It smells so good. Gu Chongsun squatted beside the clay stove, thinking that his sister-in-law really knew how to eat. So this was barbecued meat. Watch out for oil splashing on your face, Su Qingli told him to stand further away. Gu Changshan stepped back 2 paces. 2 minutes later, he asked, "Sister-in-law, can we eat now?" The aroma was so strong he could hardly hold back. "Sure, go ahead and eat." Su Qingli fetched bowls for everyone and moved the clay stove onto the table. The dipping sauce she had mixed was a little spicy, which was too much for little Gu Changwei. "The plain meat tastes good too," Su Qingli said. She picked up a piece of beef, blew on it twice, and fed it to the little girl. It's so tasty, sister-in-law." "Told you so. I'll put some in your bowl." "Blow on it before you eat," Su Qingli said, piling plenty of meat into her bowl. The barbecue was delicious even without any seasonings. The 3 villain siblings had a satisfying meal. Gu Changshan hoped they could have it again sometime. In the days that followed, Su Qingli stayed mostly at home. With her brother-in-law Gu Changshan on vacation, she no longer needed to get up early every day. Waking at 7 o'clock was enough. Mid-December arrived. Su Qingli finished the sweater she had knitted for Gu Changlin. She brought it over to him. "Changlin, try this on." "All right." Gu Changlin took it and pulled it over his head. "Does it look good?" he asked. Su Qingli nodded. "It suits you perfectly." Having stayed indoors for 2 months, Gu Changlin's skin had grown fairer, unlike the bronze complexion he had back in spring. With the sweater finished, Su Qingli had free time to focus on reading. Gu Changshan took his little sister over to Uncle Gu's house every day. There were no winter holiday assignments, so they played all vacation long. Gu Changlin stayed home reading the books Su Qingli had found for him. He preferred history and geography. "Qingli, are you reading medical books?" Gu Changlin asked, seeing her buried in a thick volume. Su Qingli shook her head. "Not medical books. It's a collection of stories." More than half a month of getting along had eased the awkwardness between them. "What kind of stories?" "Let me see." Gu Changlin leaned halfway over. Staring at the script, he looked confused. "Is this English?" "It doesn't look like it." "Not Russian either." "It's German." Su Qingli saw no point in hiding her knowledge of multiple languages. Gu Changlin was surprised. "You know German?" "Just a little." Gu Changlin thought his wife was being modest. One could not get through such a thick storybook knowing only a little. She was clearly quite proficient. He felt he might have married an extraordinary woman. She knew medicine and German. "Changlin, do you know Russian?" Su Qingli asked. Few people in this era learned English, while Russian was far more commonly studied. Gu Changlin pressed his lips together. His wife was so capable that he felt embarrassed about his poor school grades. Still, he told her, "I didn't do well at school. I only know a couple of Russian phrases." He was not exaggerating, merely, "Hello, and what is your name?" "Say them for me." "How do you say hello in Russian?" Su Qingli knew German, Italian, French, English, and could manage a few phrases in Japanese and Korean. Russian was the one she lacked. "Hello is," Gu Changlin said. Though his grades had been poor, he had mastered that particular greeting. "Pre-6 yet?" "Is that close to the pronunciation?" Gu Changlin nodded. "Something like that, spoken quickly." "I'd like to learn Russian someday," Su Qingli said. She aimed to master 6 languages in total. So far, she had 4 under her belt. Gu Changlin fell silent for 2 seconds. "Have I trapped you?" If she had not married him, she would be free, able to do whatever she pleased, instead of being stuck here looking after the whole family. "Gu Changlin, what are you thinking? How is this your fault?" "If I hadn't married you, I would be out working in the fields every day." "Don't dwell on it. After the new year we'll go to the capital for your surgery, and you'll get better," Su Qingli said, giving his cheek a light squeeze. The so-called villain eldest brother was undeniably handsome. Gu Changlin lifted his gaze. Su Qingli checked the time. It was 11, nearly lunchtime. "Are you hungry?" "I'll cook." For noon she planned casserole, stewed chicken. The domestic chicken was not large, yet it yielded far more meat than wild game, which was lean and tough. She preferred farm-raised chicken. Thinking about chickens, Su Qingli decided they ought to raise some the following spring. City residents were forbidden from keeping chickens under current policies, while rural households could keep no more than 5. Having chickens of their own would make getting eggs much more convenient. Su Qingli resolved to ask Aunt Gu to look for chicks when spring came. Su Qingli went to prepare food. Gu Changlin remained sitting on the heated kong, lost in thought, touching his cheek. Qingli had just touched his face. He felt happy. Lunch was barely ready when Gu Changshan and Gu Changwei came back. Su Qingli admired her brother-in-law's uncanny knack for arriving exactly at mealtime. His sense of smell was sharp too. "It's chicken soup. Did you stew chicken, sister-in-law?" He sniffed the air the moment he stepped inside. Yes. Go wash your hands, and take Changwei to wash hers too. This was plain chicken with no vegetables added. A layer of golden chicken fat floated on top of the soup. Simmered for 2 hours in the casserole, the meat was tender and flavorful. She sprinkled chopped green onions over it before serving, and the aroma was wonderful. Sister-in-law, your cooking is amazing, better than state banquet chefs, Gu Chongshan praised between mouthfuls. He had quite the knack for flattery. Sister-in-law, tasty, little Gu Chongwa chimed in right away. Su Qingli smiled. This afternoon I'm making dumplings and boiling a pig's head. You two stay and help me. It was late December, almost January, and the new year was drawing near. Su Qingli wanted to cook the pig's head soon for meals in the coming days. The ribs and meat stored in the large crock would be saved for New Year celebrations. She would also make dumplings. On lazy days, boiling dumplings made for an easy meal. Noodles were convenient too, but she did not care for them. She preferred dumplings. Okay, sister-in-law. Days were short in winter, and there was no need for afternoon naps. Right after lunch they set about making dumplings and preparing the pig's head. She had brought the frozen pig's head indoors earlier, and it had thawed. She poured liquor onto a plate and singed off all the bristles. She cut off the ears, scrubbed everything clean, and split the head in half. She cleaned the tongue and soft palate thoroughly, then boiled everything over a high flame for 2 to 3 hours. The pig's head simmered on the stove, needing only occasional additions of firewood. Su Qingli turned to making dumpling filling. She prepared 2 kinds, pickled cabbage with pork and fresh cabbage with pork. Though they came from the same vegetable, their flavors differed noticeably. Su Qingli rolled out the wrappers. Gu Chonglin and Gu Chongshan filled and folded the dumplings, while little Gu Changwei played with a lump of dough nearby. The scene was peaceful and harmonious. They made more than 500 dumplings this time. Gu Chongshan complained his hands were numb. By the time the dumplings were finished, the pig's head was well cooked. Su Qingli lifted it out and set it outside to cool. Once cooled, she sliced up the soft palate and tongue. Mixed with pickled vegetable brine, they made a delicious dish. For supper they ate sliced pork from the head together with dumplings. Night fell. After little Gu Changwei fell asleep, Su Qingli opened her system panel. Another month had passed, and she could draw a reward. Traditional Chinese medical acupuncture. Note: Western medicine has its strengths, and traditional Chinese medicine has its own merits. Acupuncture can unblock meridians, harmonize yin and yang, strengthen the body's resistance to disease, and offer many other benefits. Host, please study diligently. A thick textbook on acupuncture, a packet of silver needles, and a small human body meridian acupoint model appeared in Su Qingli's storage space. Great, really great. Su Qingli loved rewards of books and knowledge. She had something new to learn. The next day, she set aside her German books to study the acupuncture textbook from the system. The German reading materials spanned 10 thick volumes and would take a long time to finish. She would focus on acupuncture first. Seeing this, Gu Chonglin said, Qingli, you can practice on me. Especially my legs. Go ahead and try the needles, it won't hurt. Su Qingli thought Gu Chonglin was being foolish. He wanted a complete beginner to stick needles into him. Though she had a medical background, acupuncture was a field entirely new to her. Are you out of your mind? Your legs lack sensation, but your meridians are real. If I, a novice, insert a needle in the wrong spot, it could interfere with your post-surgical recovery. Gu Chonglin shook his head. It will be fine. I trust you. Su Qingli was lost for words. The so-called villain eldest brother trusted her far too blindly. Still, she would never treat others with half-learned skills. She intended to master the subject thoroughly before attempting any treatment. Reading must have grown tedious for Gu Chonglin. Gradually, he drifted off to sleep, his head resting on her shoulder. Su Qingli tensed up, not daring to move. After about 5 minutes, she could bear it no longer. Her shoulder was ticklish. Chonglin, she whispered softly. He gave no response. He was sound asleep. Su Qingli fetched a pillow and gently shifted his head onto it. Gu Chonglin slept so deeply he did not stir. Had he not slept well the night before? She covered him with a quilt and quietly stepped outside, where she ran into Aunt Gu. Auntie, this way. Su Qingli led her into the east room. Gu Chonglin is asleep. Why is he sleeping in the daytime? Didn't he rest last night? He must be worn out, Su Qingli said. Aunt Gu nodded and said no more. She handed over the bundle in her arms. Changlin's cotton, padded coat is finished. I also made an extra pair of cotton shoes. Thank you, Auntie. Su Qingli gave her 2 Nanhua pairs. These are sweet. Please try them. Did you get these from the supply and marketing cooperative? Yes. I bought some New Year goods the day before yesterday. Have you finished your New Year shopping, Auntie? Aunt Gu bit into a pear. It was sweet and sour with a faint fermented aroma. I sent my husband to go today. You'd better hurry. The good items sell out fast. There was only one supply, and marketing cooperative in the county, and goods were always in high demand. Gu Chonglin, Qingli touched my cheek. I'm happy. Author _ that was a squeeze. Gu Chonglin, I don't care. It was a touch. My wife is fond of me. Aunt Gu nodded and went on. By the way, Qingli. Tomorrow my sons are heading up the mountain to hunt for game. The children are going too. Would you like to come along? I can keep an eye on the house for you. Going up the mountain for game meant hunting. Su Qingli was not eager to go. The weather was bitterly cold. Every breath stung the lungs, and snow covered the ground. Snow would pour straight into her shoes with every step. I'd better not, Auntie. It's far too cold, Su Qingli replied with a smile. Aunt Gu had worried she might grow cooped up indoors and hoped fresh mountain air would lift her spirits, but she accepted the answer. They chatted a little longer before Aunt Gu left. Su Qingli checked the time. It was lunch hour again. She would stir, fry pig, head meat with chili peppers, steam rice in her casserole, and make egg custard. She had recently learned to cook rice in a casserole instead of a big iron pot. Smearing oil on the bottom before adding rice and water produced rice, much like an electric rice cookers, complete with a crispy crust. She regretted not figuring out this trick sooner. The idea had come to her in a sudden thought one night before bed. The stir-fried pig head meat was mildly spicy, acceptable even for little Gu Changwei. When Su Qingli carried the dishes into the west room, she found Gu Chonglin awake, leaning against the wall reading. You're up. Why didn't you call for me? Gu Chonglin smiled. I heard noises from the kitchen and guessed you were busy. I just finished cooking. Su Qingli helped Gu Chonglin into his wheelchair. Didn't you sleep well last night? My lower back aches, Gu Chonglin said. Normally the ache was faint, but the previous night it had flared up badly. Is it near the old wound? Su Qingli grew worried. Could the wound be acting up, or had shrapnel shifted? In the novel, Gu Chonglin's lower back pain appeared years later, caused by long-term wheelchair use. The wound hurts, and so does the area above it, my spine and shoulders, Gu Chonglin recalled. Why didn't you tell me your back hurt? Could you have caught a chill? Even with a well-heated con, the earthen walls of rural houses offered poor insulation, and their home had slight drafts through walls and roof. Does it still hurt now? Su Qingli asked. A little, Gu Chonglin said. He was about to add that he could bear it when Su Qingli spoke. Let me give you a massage then. All right, Gu Chonglin answered softly, the tips of his ears turning red. Su Qingli was preoccupied with his discomfort and noticed nothing strange about him. She pulled a stool beside him. Sunlight streamed through the window, and the charcoal brazier kept the room comfortably warm. Gu Chonglin wore the sweater Su Qingli had knitted over a cotton undershirt. Su Qingli slipped her hands under his sweater and placed her palms against his back. Gu Chonglin sat bolt upright. Relax, Su Qingli said. Her warm palms moved slowly over his back. It felt as though warm spring water flowed through his body, soothing and comforting. After a while, Su Qingli asked, Is it better? Gu Chonglin looked at her with soft eyes. The pain is gone, Qingli. Good to hear. Su Qingli breathed a sigh of relief. If the pain persisted badly, he would need to see a doctor, in case there was something wrong with the old injury. Are you hungry? Let's eat. It's just ready. No sooner had she finished speaking than Gu Chongshan and Gu Changwei burst in, bringing cold air with them. Su Qingli marveled at how the children could play in the snow for hours in such freezing weather without falling ill. Children in later eras would never hold up so well. Didn't you take Changwei outside to play? Su Qingli untied the little girl's scarf and hat. Gu Chongshan shook his head. No, sister-in-law. She played indoors. Yes, inside. Going outside makes you catch colds. Go wash your hands for dinner. The stir-fried pig head meat was delicious, rich, and spicy. Big brother, sister-in-law, tomorrow I'm going up the mountain with Jianya and the others, Gu Chongshan said between mouthfuls of rice. Are you going hunting? Gu Chonglin asked. Yes. Jianya heard someone spotted a wild boar. They want to bring it back. Suddenly Gu Chongshan's nose tickled. He froze for a second. Achoo. Then came 3 more sneezes in quick succession. Right after him, Gu Chongwei sneezed too. Achoo. Su Qingli sighed. They were coming down with colds. Sure enough, by the afternoon both children had runny noses. You two are getting colds. Take these pills first. Su Qingli handed over 2 white tablets. Is it bitter? Gu Changshan asked. Not like herbal medicine. Just swallow them with water. Hurry up. Little Gu Changwei could not swallow tablets whole, so Su Qingli crushed hers and fed it to her spoon by spoon. Be good, yeah. After you take the medicine, you'll get a white rabbit milk candy. The children got 1 milk candy each per day. They love sweets, so they cooperated readily. Su Qingli opened the cabinet and took out 4 white rabbit candies. She gave 1 each to Gu Changshan and Gu Changwei, ate 1 herself, then peeled the last one and walked over to Gu Changlin. Open your mouth. He bit into it and smiled. I'm not a child. Pretend to be one for a moment, Su Qingli said. Few people of this generation had enjoyed candy in childhood, save for a couple at New Year's. Adults and children alike loved sweets. Because of their colds, Su Qingli refused to let Gu Changshan go mountain hunting the next day. His excitement vanished, and he remained listless all afternoon, possibly worsened by his cold symptoms. That night Su Qingli set alarms to check on the children every hour, afraid they might develop fevers. At midnight, she found Gu Changwei burning hot. She took her temperature, 39 degrees Celsius. A high fever. Su Qingli quickly took ibuprofen suspension liquid out of her storage space and gave it to Gu Changwei. Then she hurried to the west room. Gu Changlin woke the moment she stepped in. Qingli? Changlin, Changwei has a high fever. I've given her medicine. I need to check if Gu Changshan has a fever too. Gu Changshan was still asleep. Gu Changlin touched his forehead. He doesn't seem to have a fever. Su Qingli checked with the thermometer. 37 degrees Celsius, a slight temperature rise. She relaxed. It would have been difficult for her to manage if both children had high fevers. I'll keep watch over Gu Changshan, Gu Changlin said. Call me if his temperature spikes. Su Qingli nodded and pulled his quilt higher over his shoulders. Aren't you going to get any sleep? I'll rest lightly. I won't sleep too deeply. He feared sleeping through a fever. There was a family in the village whose child had suffered brain damage from a midnight fever while the parents slept soundly. Call for me if anything happens. I'll go check on Yaya. Go ahead. That night Su Qingli truly understood the sayings. An elder brother is like a father. An elder sister-in-law is like a mother. After 2 doses of ibuprofen, Gu Changyue's fever subsided, but Su Qingli dared not sleep, watching for a relapse. Born prematurely, Gu Changwei had poor health and had received very little breast milk as an infant. Her immunity was weaker than other children's. She should not have been allowed to go out even indoors and back in such bitter winter weather. Fortunately, the fever did not return in the hours that followed. Seeing how late it was, Su Qingli got up to cook. The sick children would have little appetite, so she planned to make congee for them. Egg and lean meat congee, plus steamed buns. At breakfast, both children looked listless, like eggplants frostbitten. They complained of a bitter taste in their mouths and had no appetite. Eat something. You still need to take medicine later. Gu Changshan picked up his bowl, took 2 sips of congee, then set it down. Gu Changwei did the same. Su Qingli thought for a moment. Wait, I'll get some pickled vegetables for you. She went to the east room, fished out a few pickled vegetables, diced them, and put them in a bowl. Su Qingli scooped 1 spoonful into her congee and tasted it. It was pretty good. It tastes nice, she said. Changshan, put some in your congee. Hearing this, Gu Changshan added some to his bowl. Wow, it's delicious. Finish your congee then, Su Qingli said. She turned to feed Gu Changwei. Yeah, take a bite. Little Gu Changwei opened her mouth and took a sip. The 2 children had caught colds. Changshan was doing better, being older with stronger resistance. Gu Changwei, however, had a runny nose. Her eyes welled up with tears. She felt terrible and clung to people constantly. Qingli, I'm finished. Let me feed her. You eat your meal. Gu Changlin took the bowl from Su Qingli's hands. Su Qingli looked at him. Already done? Are you full? Gu Changlin replied, I'm full. I eat fast. Very well. Su Qingli told Gu Changwei, yeah, eat properly and sister-in-law will open a canned fruit for you later. At the mention of canned fruit, the little girl's eyes brightened a little. She nodded. I'll eat. Good girl. After the meal, Su Qingli gave the children their medicine. She took a jar of peach preserves out of the cabinet and opened it. Only 2 slices each. It's cold too, she warned. When you're fully recovered, you can have as much as you like. Changshan and Changwei nodded in unison. We know, sister-in-law. Su Qingli got 2 bowls, placed 2 peach slices in each, and poured in some of the syrup. Go ahead and eat. See what happens when you run around recklessly? You feel awful now. Both children shook their heads. We won't go running outside anymore. Eating canned peaches while sick felt comforting, sweet, and cool. Watching them enjoy it, Su Qingli picked up a piece with chopsticks and gave it to Gu Chonglin. Have one too. Then she ate a piece herself. Just then, several children from Uncle Gu's family showed up. Gu Qishan, the eldest son of eldest brother Gu, Gu Qingyin, the second son, plus Churi and Sherwu from second brother Gu's household. Aunt 4, we're looking for young uncle. We're going up the mountain to hunt. Chongson can't go. He's got a cold, Su Qingli told them. Oh no? A cold? How did he catch it? The boys walked into the room and saw Gu Chongson and Gu Chongwei lying listlessly on the kang, eating canned fruit. Seeing the preserves, the 4 boys involuntarily swallowed hard. At the sight of them, Gu Chongson's eyes lit up, then dimmed again. His voice was stuffy. I've got a cold. I can't go with you. The 4 boys looked disappointed. All right then. Get well soon at home, young uncle. Before they left, Su Qingli grabbed a handful of milk candies, about a dozen in total. Divide these among yourselves. Thank you, Aunt 4. Su Qingli waved them off. Gu Qingshan held the candies. They counted 12 in all, exactly 3 for each boy. Gu Qishan was in the 2nd year of junior high in the county town, practically half-grown. Still, both adults and children in this era craved milk candy. Gu Qishan said, Aunt 4 is so nice. The other 3 echoed him. I wish I were one of Aunt 4's kids. If they were, they could drink milk powder every day, eat meat buns, dumplings, and fried eggs. They had once tasted fried eggs that young uncle had brought to school. It had been wonderful. Young uncle had said it would taste even better hot. They had begged their parents for hot fried eggs at home, only to be scolded. Fried eggs wasted oil. They ought to make do with boiled eggs instead. They were told many children did not even get boiled eggs, so they ought not compare themselves to young uncle's family. There was simply no comparison. The 4 boys ate their candies as they headed home and reported that young uncle had a cold and could not go mountain hunting. How did he get a cold? Aunt Gu asked, worried. Eldest sister-in-law Gu remarked, he must have played too wildly these past few days. She told the boys, take your hats and scarves when you go up the mountain. Don't catch cold yourselves. Aunt Gu thought for a moment. I'm going over there. Both Chongson and Chongwei were sick. Could Qingli cope all by herself? She wondered if the household even had cold medicine. With that thought, Aunt Gu fetched some cold medicine from the doctor and headed for Su Qingli's house. Su Qingli was not surprised by her visit. The children would surely talk when they got home, and Aunt Gu would naturally come over upon hearing the news. This aunt treated others better than many birth mothers. She cared about every little matter. She was kind and reasonable toward her daughters-in-law and treated the orphan children left behind by her brother-in-law as her own. Moreover, she treated grandsons and granddaughters equally, showing no preference for boys over girls. Few people in any era possessed such fine qualities. Su Qingli hoped this kind-hearted woman would live a long life. Aunt Gu hurried inside. Qingshan said Chongson and Chongwei have colds? Have they taken medicine? They have, Aunt. I already have cold medicine and other supplies ready, Su Qingli reassured her. Aunt Gu patted Su Qingli's hand. You think of everything, child. To catch cold just before the new year, Aunt Gu sighed. They should be well by New Year's, Su Qingli said. Aunt Gu nodded. Qingli, did you stay up all last night? Let me watch over the children. Go lie down in the inner room for a while. Changwei had run a fever the night before. Qingli must have sat up tending them the whole night. No one could endure going without sleep night after night. I'm fine, Aunt. Chonglin stayed up too, Su Qingli said. Then both of you go rest. I'll keep an eye on them. Aunt Gu insisted. Off you go to the east room to sleep. You two will still need to look after the children tonight. Gu Chongson spoke up. Elder brother, sister-in-law, go sleep. Changwei and I will behave ourselves. Gu Chongson felt guilty enough. His sister-in-law already took such good care of them. Because he had run around recklessly with his little sister and got them both sick, she had lost sleep looking after them. Sister-in-law, I'll be good. Please get some sleep, little Gu Changwei said, accidentally blowing a runny nose bubble. Su Qingli quickly wiped her nose with a handkerchief. Aunt Gu, please call me right away if either of them feels unwell, Su Qingli told her. I will. Off you go. Your eyes are all red, Aunt Gu said. Lack of sleep left one worn out. All right. Su Qingli urged Gu Chonglin into the east room. She was genuinely exhausted. A sleepless night left her whole body aching. She pulled Gu Chonglin onto the Kong, and they lay under one large double quilt. Chonglin, you sleep too. You did not get much rest the night before last either. Gu Chonglin mumbled, all right. Su Qingli silently recited a calming mantra in her mind and drifted off. She recited it not because she had improper thoughts about Gu Chonglin, but simply to quiet her racing thoughts. Her mind tended to wander whenever she tried to fall asleep. Gu Chonglin knew nothing of calming mantras. He lay rigidly beside Su Qingli. His legs could not move freely, but his arms could. Still, he dared not shift. Only when he heard steady breathing beside him did he relax slightly and move his arms. Gu Chonglin had been very sleepy earlier, yet now he was wide awake. His heart thumped loudly in his chest, the same rapid heartbeat he got when running drills in the military barracks. He pressed a hand over his chest. No matter what he did, his heart would not slow down. He turned his head and gazed at the woman beside him. His wife was so beautiful. Her skin was fair and flawless. She had a delicate little nose and long, thick, curling eyelashes like small fans. An impulse came over him. He wanted to touch those eyelashes. He stretched out his hand. They felt soft and fuzzy. He brushed them several times. Suddenly her eyelid twitched. He snatched his hand back in fright. Phew, that had been a close call. After a few seconds, seeing no further movement, he assumed she remained asleep. Gu Chonglin wondered if something was wrong with him. His heart had been pounding nonstop ever since they climbed onto the king. Chonglin, aren't you asleep? Su Qingli opened her eyes groggily and saw him wide awake. I'm about to sleep, Gu Chonglin replied. Sleep quickly. Su Qingli placed her hand over his eyes to force them shut. This only made Gu Chonglin's heart beat faster. After a moment, he gently removed her hand and held it in his own. Somehow, holding the hand of someone he cared for seemed to work like a lullaby. Before long, Gu Chonglin fell asleep. They slept from 9 in the morning until 1 in the afternoon, when Su Qingli woke up. She noticed her right hand was being held. She turned her head and saw Gu Chonglin clasping her hand. Su Qingli slowly pulled her hand free. Gu Chonglin opened his eyes and mumbled sleepily, Qingli, you're awake? Yes. Do you want to sleep a little longer? No, I'll get up too. Gu Chonglin shook his head. Though short, their sleep had been deep and restful. You're awake. Did you rest well? Aunt Gu asked when they stepped out of the room. Su Qingli smiled. Very well, Aunt. We slept for hours. Good. I ought to head home now. Aunt Gu climbed down from the kang. Won't you stay for lunch? Su Qingli invited her. No. In winter we only have 2 meals a day, Aunt Gu replied. Only Su Qingli's household ate 3 meals each day. Aunt, please eat something before you go, Gu Chonglin added. Su Qingli hurried outside and brought in some frozen dumplings. Aunt, I can boil these quickly in hot water. You child, Aunt Gu relented and came back inside. 15 minutes later, the dumplings were ready. She asked Chongsun and Chongwei if they wanted any. Both shook their heads. Aunt Gu chided them gently. You won't even eat dumplings? What will you eat then? Su Qingli said, tell me what you want, and I'll make it after we finish eating. Gu Chongsun shook his head. Sister-in-law, I have no appetite right now. I'll eat with supper. Chongwei too. Gu Changwei trotted over from the kang and hugged her leg, her voice soft and childish. Sister-in-law, I want canned fruit. Very well. Su Qingli fetched the leftover canned peaches from the east room. She brewed a cup of milk powder for each child, brought out 4 egg cakes, plus an orange and a nangua pear apiece. Have these for now. Aunt Gu shook her head watching this. Qingli spoiled Chongsun and Chongwei terribly, giving them whatever they asked for, canned fruit, milk powder, fruit, egg cakes. Aunt, would you like some vinegar and soy sauce for your dumplings? Su Qingli offered the condiments. No need. These dumplings taste wonderful just as they are, Aunt Gu said. Su Qingli liked her dumplings with a special dipping sauce. Aunt Gu glanced at the bright red chili oil in Su Qingli's bowl. People from Sichuan province really can handle spicy food. It is not all that spicy, Aunt. Would you like to try a little? No thank you, Aunt Gu shook her head. Just looking at the chili, infused sauce made her mouth burn. Su Qingli liked drinking something with her meals, brown, sugar water or tea. She poured 3 cups of rich, sweet brown, sugar water. Aunt Gu ate dumplings and sipped sweet brown, sugar water, feeling thoroughly content. What a fine life this household enjoyed. After eating, Aunt Gu helped wash the dishes before heading home. Su Qingli checked the time. It was medicine time for the children again. She gave them their doses, stoked the kang to warm it up, read for a while, and began thinking about what to cook for dinner. In rural life, preparing 3 daily meals took up most of one's day. She could not settle on a menu, so she went inside to ask the children. Little Gu Changwei clapped her hands. Sister-in-law, I want thin noodles. You mean dried vermicelli noodles? Thin noodles. Vermicelli are thin noodles. Then vermicelli it is. Gu Changsun also seemed eager for vermicelli. Supper was settled. They would have vermicelli. Cooking vermicelli was simple enough. Gu Changlin looked confused. Do we still have vermicelli at home? Oh, I forgot to cook them for you. My family mailed several packages before. There are still 2 left in the cabinet. Su Qingli personally thought vermicelli tasted plain, so she had never prepared it for Gu Changlin. Yet in this era, dried vermicelli counted as first-rate food. As evening came and Su Qingli was about to cook the noodles, eldest brother Gu showed up carrying a wild boar hind leg and a large bowl of stewed wild boar meat with potatoes. We hunted a wild boar up the mountain today. Qingli, this meat is for you. This bowl is hot stewed wild boar and potatoes. Haven't you had supper yet? Su Qingli was taken aback. Eldest brother, I will take the stew, but you ought to keep the pork yourselves. We have plenty. That boar weighed 200 jin. You have to take this meat. If I go back without leaving it, uncle and aunt will scold me. He set everything down and hurried off, eager to return home for wild boar meat. Even though he had eaten many nice meals at fourth brother's house, he still craved meat. Su Qingli picked up the huge boar hind leg, heavy like a raw ham. Uncle Gu's family did not live as comfortably as theirs. Thanks to Su Qingli, their own household ate meat frequently. If she did not worry about arousing gossip, they could eat meat every single day. Uncle Gu's household had many mouths to feed and several students to support. Selling this wild boar meat could bring in quite a bit of money. Even so, they had generously given them such a large portion. A few jin would have been more than enough. It spoke volumes about what kind people they were. Su Qingli carried the boar leg outside and stored it in the large storage vat to freeze for the Lunar New Year. She boiled plain vermicelli noodles and added 4 eggs, 1 for each person. She seasoned each bowl with soy sauce and vinegar, sprinkled chopped green onion and coriander on top, turning simple noodles into delicious yangchunmian. The 3 of them, the 2 boys and Gu Changlin, loved the noodles. They finished every bite and drank all the soup from their bowls. After a week of care, Changsun and Changyue's colds were nearly gone. As soon as they recovered, the 4 cousins from Uncle Gu's house came calling again, wanting to take Gu Changsun out to play. Gu Changsun longed to go, yet feared catching cold all over again. Su Qingli pulled out a 5th grade volume 2 textbook she had found at the waste goods station. If you have spare time, study your books. Master the lessons ahead of time, and you'll surprise everyone when school starts. Gu Changsun was persuaded by her words. He lost interest in running outside and sat studying side by side with his elder brother every day. Gu Changlin was truly poor at studying, but Gu Changsun was a natural scholar. He could recite poems after reading them only 3 times. Su Qingli asked him, Changsun, what do you want to be when you grow up? What kind of job appeals to you? Gu Changsun had never thought about this. Sister-in-law, what job is impressive and pays well? Su Qingli was momentarily stumped. Her original profession had been a doctor, yet her dream job had been collecting rent. In real life, she hoped to combine the 2. Gu Changlin spoke up. A diplomat. You speak multiple languages, interact with foreign guests, and the salary is high. That fits your description of an impressive job. Elder brother, what is a diplomat? Gu Changsun asked. Gu Changlin explained the position to him. Gu Changsun was fascinated. Elder brother, sister-in-law, I want to become a diplomat. Diplomats must master many languages. If you truly want this future, you can learn from your sister-in-law. She knows German and English. Gu Changsun stared in surprise at Su Qingli. Sister-in-law, you really know German and English? I know a little. Say some for me. Gu Changsun begged. Su Qingli spoke a few sentences. The other 3 listened with blank expressions. Though they understood nothing, they thought she was extraordinarily capable. Sister-in-law, what did you just say? I asked what your name is, how old you are, and what you ate for breakfast. Oh, my name is Gu Changsun. I am 10 years old. I ate steamed buns, milk powder, and eggs for breakfast. Everyone in the room laughed, including Gu Changsun himself. Su Qingli told him, if you truly wish to learn, I will start teaching you next summer vacation. This winter vacation, finish the 5th grade 2nd volume textbook. All right. The 2nd boy villain dreamed of becoming a diplomat. Su Qingli glanced over at the little girl happily munching an apple, wondering what the little girl villain might want to be. Really, any decent career would do, so long as she stayed away from illegal and immoral paths. That afternoon, Su Qingli went over acupuncture and medical textbooks with the two boys before starting dinner. By the way, tomorrow was the Laba Festival. The Laba Festival of 1973 fell on December 31st of the solar calendar. With Laba arriving, the Lunar New Year drew near. In a few days, she would thoroughly clean the whole house to welcome the new year. Before bedtime, Su Qingli soaked mixed 8, treasure rice. She would cook congee in the sand, pot tomorrow for Laba Festival. They would eat laba garlic and dumplings as well. She had pickled the laba garlic a month earlier. The garlic cloves in the jar had turned deep green, ready to be opened the next day. She wondered if her system celebrated festivals along with its host. After midnight, the background image on her system interface changed to a bowl of 8, treasure congee. On Laba Festival morning, they ate dumplings with pickled laba garlic. The 8, treasure congee was served at noon. It needed over 2 hours to simmer, so Su Qingli did not want to get up extra early to cook it. At noon, the sweet congee was simmered with rock sugar. Su Qingli had Chongson carry a big bowl over to Uncle Gu's house for Uncle Gu and Aunt Gu to enjoy. Uncle Gu's family had also cooked laba congee, but with far fewer ingredients and much less sugar. The day after Laba Festival was New Year's Day. Another day of good food. Meat was plentiful at both households those 2 days, and adults and children alike were joyful. Su Qingli tried the wild boar meat eldest brother Gu had brought. It carried a strong gamey taste that neither she nor the children cared for. She re-cooked it, adding Chinese liquor, chili, star anise, and other spices, which greatly improved the flavor. Su Qingli pondered how to remove the gamey smell from the large boar hind leg. What if she made fried meatballs? Adding plenty of liquor and spices before deep frying ought to produce good results. She planned to cut off a piece that afternoon and test the meatball recipe. If it turned out well, she would turn the entire boar leg into fried meatballs for the new year. She got straight to work. She carried the frozen boar leg inside to thaw. By afternoon, it had mostly thawed. She cut off a chunk of meat and chopped it finely. As she minced the meat, she sorely missed an electric meat grinder. If only she had one, she would not need to chop by hand. She mixed minced meat with chopped green onion, ginger, 5 spice powder, 13 spice seasoning, Chinese liquor, and other condiments, kneading everything thoroughly. Fry them in the oil again. After frying, Su Qingli took a bite. It tasted great, delicious, and had no fishy smell at all. It seemed she had succeeded in getting rid of the gamey odor. She made up her mind. She would use the wild boar thigh meat to make fried meatballs. After New Year's Day, the little new year would come in half a month. During this period, Su Qingli kept herself busy. She gave the whole house a thorough cleaning, washed the bed sheets, quilt covers, and pillowcases, and cleared away the cobwebs on the roof. In winter, laundry would freeze solid when hung outdoors. People usually brought the frozen clothes indoors to dry, and it still took several days for them to dry completely inside the house. This made Su Qingli realize she needed to buy another set of bed sheets and quilt covers. She had no spares at all. Once the house was tidy, there was not much else to do. Apart from little Gu Changwei, the other 3 members of the family stayed indoors reading. Read. Within books lie mansions of gold and beauties. Read more to improve yourselves. Her brother-in-law Gu Changshan was truly a top student. He had already finished the Chinese textbook for the 2nd semester of 5th grade and claimed he remembered most of its content. Now he was reading the arithmetic textbook. January 15, 1974, Northern Little New Year. What did people eat for Little New Year? Meat and dumplings, of course. They had dumplings at noon. For dinner, Su Qingli made braised pork ribs, which went perfectly with steamed rice, so she cooked a pot of rice. Both children loved the braised pork ribs, and so did Gu Chonglin. Su Qingli said, "I'll make this again for the New Year's Eve family dinner." Gu Chongshan said, "Sister-in-law, we used to have New Year's Eve dinner with eldest uncle's family. So many people. If you made braised pork ribs then, how many ribs would we need?" Thinking about the half-bag of dumplings they had cooked that day, Gu Chongshan felt a pang of heartache. Su Qingli said, "Then we can have it at noon instead. We'll cook something different for the New Year's Eve dinner." That made sense. If they dined together with Uncle Gu's large family, far too many ribs would be required. All right, Gu Chongshan agreed. Today was Little New Year. It was also exactly 3 months since Su Qingli had traveled to this time period. Time for another system draw. Gain 2 centimeters in height. Note: when you are taller, you breathe fresher air. Su Qingli stretched her legs. Her feet touched the wall. Had her legs grown longer? That was fine by her, as long as it was not her waist. After the draw, she went to sleep. In the blink of an eye, New Year's Eve arrived. For New Year's Eve, they ate dumplings and plenty of meat. Gu Chongshin had been looking forward to the braised pork ribs from Little New Year. When he saw Su Qingli bring ribs in from outside, he asked, "Sister-in-law, are you making braised pork ribs?" Su Qingli shook her head. "No braised ribs today. I'll make garlic-flavored fried ribs for you." "Are garlic-flavored fried ribs tasty?" Gu Chongshin asked. Gu Chonglin retorted, "What do you think? How could meat not taste good? Besides, with your sister-in-law's cooking skills, even stir-fried potatoes are delicious, let alone meat." A few days earlier, his wife had made spring pancakes, shredded pork and shredded potatoes. Rolling them up together made an incredibly tasty meal. Su Qingli glanced at Gu Chonglin, then turned to Gu Chongshin. "They're delicious. You'll see once they are done frying." "Qingli, what dishes are you planning to make?" Gu Chonglin asked. "Garlic-flavored fried ribs, steamed pork with rice flour, dry, fried pork intestines, braised beef brisket, toffee sweet potatoes, and vinegar, fried cabbage. 6 dishes total. What do you think?" She had already boiled the pork intestines when preparing the pig head. Back then, everyone had focused on eating pig head meat, so the intestines had been set aside. She had only remembered them the night before when planning the New Year's Eve menu. In the big earthen jar, besides the intestines, there were also 4 pig trotters waiting to be eaten. She had intended to make braised pig trotters for Gu Chonglin someday, but had forgotten all about it. Gu Chonglin smiled. "You decide. I'll help you cook in a moment." "Okay," Su Qingli nodded. Gu Chonglin was confined to a wheelchair due to his leg injury, but his hands still worked. He helped with whatever he could, picking vegetables, mincing filling, chopping ingredients, stoking the stove, washing dishes, and even sewing bed sheets and quilt covers. He pitched in wherever possible. Su Qingli wanted him to rest, but Gu Chonglin refused to sit idly by and let others wait on him hand and foot. So she let him be. With the menu settled, Su Qingli got busy. By 11 o'clock, all the dishes were ready. Adding in canned food, they had 7 dishes in total. For this era, that was an extremely lavish feast. Few families in the village could serve 7 dishes for the new year. Since they had already eaten dumplings in the morning, they steamed rice for lunch, which paired perfectly with all the dishes. After lunch, they rested for a while before cooking more food. They were going to Uncle Gu's house for the New Year's Eve dinner, and they could not show up empty-handed. Su Qingli discussed it with Gu Chonglin, and they decided to bring 3 dishes over: braised pork, fried meatballs, and toffee sweet potatoes. The children had loved the toffee sweet potatoes at noon and begged for more so their cousins could try it. Though they were technically cousins, the kids were close in age and more like playmates. Making braised pork was not difficult. The trouble lay with the fried meatballs, which required minced meat. Gu Chonglin took on that task. Knowing Su Qingli disliked mincing meat, he always handled it from then on. The braised pork was stewed with potatoes in a big pot. Next, she fried the sweet potatoes. She would make the toffee coating at Uncle Gu's place later, otherwise, the sugar would cool and harden. By then Gu Chonglin had finished mincing the pork. All that remained was for Su Qingli to season it. Looking at the time, it was only 3 o'clock. They could wait a little longer to fry the meatballs. At 4 o'clock, Su Qingli heated oil in the wok and started frying the meatballs. Just then, Gu Qishan, the eldest son of eldest brother Gu's family, showed up. "Fourth uncle, fourth aunt, grandpa and grandma want you to come over for dinner tonight." Gu Chonglin replied, "All right, we got it." "Qingshan, try these. They're just out of the fryer." Su Qingli scooped up a big spoonful of hot fried meatballs. "Be careful, they're hot." Freshly fried and steaming hot, the meatballs were crispy outside and tender inside, incredibly fragrant. Qingshan had only planned to eat one, but his fourth aunt was so warm-hearted that she filled a bowl and gave him 7. He ended up eating every single one. Gu Qing'an, the second son of eldest brother Gu's family, also had a sharp nose. He smelled the rich aroma on his older brother and spotted grease at the corner of Qingshan's mouth. "Brother, did fourth aunt give you something good to eat?" he asked. Qingshan blinked. "Fourth aunt fried meatballs. I ate 7. Fried meatballs." Though he had never tasted them, the name alone sounded wonderful: meat deep, fried in oil. Qing'an said, "Next time I'll go over to fourth uncle's house for something." Whenever the children visited fourth uncle's home, they never left empty-handed. Fourth aunt would give them pears, apples, milk candy, or fruit candy. Qingshan replied. He would be entering high school the next year and thought himself too old to bicker with younger kids. Back at their place, Su Qingli had fried a large basin of meatballs. Gu Changshan asked, "Sister-in-law, are we taking all of these over?" "Half for them, half for us," Su Qingli answered. "Great." Gu Changshan was delighted. At 5 o'clock, the whole family of 4 headed for Uncle Gu's home. "Ah, you're here. We've been waiting for you," said Aunt Gu. "You didn't need to bring food. We've already prepared a huge spread." Uncle Gu's New Year's Eve table was quite abundant. Sauerkraut stewed big bones, shredded pork with sauerkraut and vermicelli, scrambled eggs, stir-fried pig head meat with chili, a cold mixed platter, and an opened hawthorn can. There were 6 main dishes, all served in huge sea-sized bowls. With the 3 dishes brought by Su Qingli's family, there were 9 dishes in total. Braised pork. Sister-in-law Gu took the casserole from Gu Chonglin, lifted the lid, and marveled at the potato braised pork. Just looking at its glossy color told her how delicious it would be. "Sister-in-law, here's this too." Gu Changshan handed over the fried meatballs. Sister-in-law Gu quickly set down the casserole and took the bowl. "These are fried meatballs." Half an hour earlier, her eldest son had already told her that 4th aunt was frying meatballs. Hearing about fried meatballs, the children in the room grew excited. They had heard Qing'un talk about how delicious the meatballs Qingshan ate were. They wanted to try them too, but their parents had told them they had already eaten plenty of meat these days and chided them for being greedy. "Sit down, everyone," Aunt Gu called out. "Qingli, what have you got there?" "Fried sweet potatoes, Auntie. I'm going to make toffee sweet potatoes. May I use your stove?" Su Qingli uncovered her container and turned to sister-in-law Gu. "Could you show me to the kitchen?" "Of course, come along." There was still fire in the stove. They only needed to add a little firewood. "Qingli, your cooking skills are really remarkable," sister-in-law Gu praised as she watched Su Qingli boil the sugar syrup. Su Qingli smiled. "I just love experimenting with food." "It's done." Uncle Gu's family was large, so they split into 2 tables for dinner, one for the adults and one for the children. Sister-in-law Gu poured a little wine for each adult, and the feast was about to begin. Before eating, Aunt Gu wanted Uncle Gu to say a few words, but he refused. "What's there to say? Let's eat." Aunt Gu rolled her eyes. He could ramble on endlessly at other times, yet now he clammed up. "Then I'll speak." Aunt Gu raised her cup. "May the new year bring us better days, good weather and bumper harvests, and may all the children make great progress in their studies." Cheers. Everyone lifted their cups. The New Year's Eve dinner started at 5:30 and lasted until 6:30. After finishing their meal, they chatted for a while before Su Qingli's family headed home. Staying up all night for the New Year vigil was out of the question. Everyone, adults and children alike, was tired and ready for bed. They set off firecrackers early and made their New Year wishes. Little Gu Changyue's wishes were simple. First, she hoped her brother's leg would recover soon. Second, she hoped Xiao Huang the chick would not get eaten. Gu Dingding, Gu Yu, and Gu Changyue had built a little straw house for it. She had heard someone say chickens would be slaughtered for food once they grew up. She had run back crying to Su Qingli, begging her not to let Xiao Huang be killed. It had taken Su Qingli quite a while to soothe her. "Brother, what wish did you make?" Gu Changyue turned to Gu Changshan. Gu Changshan shook his head. "If you say it out loud, it won't come true." Gu Changyue huffed. "You're lying. Sister-in-law says wishes come true whether you speak them or not." "Then I still won't tell you. If you don't tell me, I won't play with you." Gu Changyue pouted angrily. All right, let's go inside." "It's freezing out here," Su Qingli said. After setting off firecrackers, the 4 of them washed up and went to sleep. Early the next morning at 6 o'clock, Su Qingli was woken up by the system. Host, Happy New Year. Wish you more wealth and greater beauty in the year ahead." Su Qingli decided to let the system slide for its sweet words. "Host, here's your New Year lucky money. Please take it." An envelope appeared in Su Qingli's hand, thick and heavy. She was fully awake at once. "System, how much is this?" "It's so thick." 1,000 yuan, host." "Oh my goodness, you're far too kind to me." Su Qingli wiped pretend tears. She was genuinely touched by how well the system treated her. "You're easy to move. You get teary-eyed over a mere 1,000. What will you do when I give you 10,000, 100,000, a million later on?" Su Qingli fell speechless. All her sentiment had just been tossed aside. On the first day of the Lunar New Year, people wore new clothes and went over to Uncle Gu's house for greetings. Breakfast consisted of leftover stewed pork bones and freshly boiled dumplings. After eating, the The four changed into new clothes and got ready to go visiting. Putting on new clothes brought genuine joy, not just for the children but for Su Qingli and Gu Chonglin as well. Su Qingli wore the pink-flowered cotton-padded jacket that had belonged to the original owner. It had fur trim around the cuffs and collar. Though it was last year's garment, it was beautifully made, and Su Qingli had taken an instant liking to it. It seemed the original owner had not only been pretty, but also had excellent taste in clothing. Among the four of them, little Gu Chongwei stood out the most. Her hair was styled into two side buns tied with red fabric flowers. She wore a red cotton-padded jacket and a rabbit fur scarf. Su Qingli had dabbed a little red lipstick onto the center of her forehead. She looked exactly like the adorable child in New Year paintings. Seeing how lovely she looked, Su Qingli could not resist. Aryaya is so pretty. Let me give you a kiss. Gu Chonglin watched the scene, the corners of his mouth lifting. If only his leg could heal, he thought. He and Qingli would surely have such a lovely daughter of their own someday. Sister-in-law has never kissed me, Gu Chongshin muttered off to the side. Gu Chenglin retorted, you're already too old for that. Privately he thought, not even I have gotten a kiss from my wife yet.